Hey guys, this is Doug Basham, and you are watching 55 Live.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show here on the WZWA Network. This is our second recording of the day. It's been a long one, but very excited here tonight. Jack, how are you going? It's been a bit of a long day.
It's been a long day, but a great day. I was sort of doing the math earlier. We've actually, after this interview, we'll have 7 in the can, which means I've got a long week ahead. A lot of editing to do, but it's all exciting. This is an exciting interview for me. This is someone that I grew up watching and remember very vividly. And even though I was 7, 8, 9 years old, I was a SmackDown guy through and through. So this is a special one for me.
Yeah, and as we said earlier today, Jack, it's a special one for me because this is the first professional wrestler I ever got to meet in person. And just like when we interviewed Crackerjack earlier, he was your first. So we're both coming full circle here with that. And it is my distinct honor and privilege to introduce former 4-time OVW Heavyweight Champion, OVW Southern Tag Team Champion, and WWE Tag Team Champion. He is the one and only Doug Basham. Doug, how you going tonight?
Good guys, how you guys doing?
Doing great, bro.
That was 2-time WWE Tag Team Champion.
2 times, baby, 2 times.
We liked it so much. One time we did it twice.
It's great to have you on the show, Doug. Really excited to speak with you this morning. And as per usual, first question we always throw at everyone is how you first became a wrestling fan when you were a young man.
I've been asked that question a lot, actually, and I don't know how I became a wrestling fan. It was just on the TV one morning. I think I was like three years old or something like that. And way back when, we're talking 45 years ago, I guess, because I'm 48 now. We only had like 3 channels. We could only get 3 channels. And on one of those channels at noon was USWA or Championship Wrestling, CWA, and it had Mid-South Wrestling with the likes of Jerry Lawler, and I don't know if anybody will know these names. I'll throw them out there anyway. Jerry Lawler, Bill Dundee, Dirty Dutch Mantel, Buddy Wayne, Sonny King, just all the guys back that I watched growing up. And then I never missed it. And I can't remember the exact date because, again, I was only 3 years old. But I had this, which I'm sure you guys did too. You probably had them wrestling buddies or a pillow or a teddy bear that you wrestled with.
Yeah.
And my teddy bear, man, we never missed a day after that, from 3 years old on.
Oh, wonderful.
Many matches with that teddy bear.
Well, I hope the teddy bear got to go over a few times. And sorry, Jack, I totally stepped on your feet there. That was supposed to be your question, so over to you, bro.
Don't even sweat it. So what was the first thing you did when you left high school or college? Was that sort of, was wrestling sort of something that was always on your radar pretty much since you were 3? Like, this is what I want to do. Like, this is going to be it. So what was the first thing you did when you left high school or college?
Well, it's very interesting you asked that question there because when I was watching, growing up through high school, 16, 17, 18, 19, well, 16 through 19, 18, sorry. The USWA would always have a commercial during their show saying, if you want to be a professional wrestler, come to our wrestling school at Nashville, Tennessee. And I'm like, Nashville, and I live, I don't know if you guys know the states very well, but Nashville is about like a 2.5, 3-hour drive from where I live. And I'm like, I can't go down there. That's too far. So I just kind of, every time that commercial came on, I always got that, ooh, I'd love to do that. Oh, I want to do that. But I never did. So there's no wrestling school that I knew of that was close by where I lived. So what I wanted to be and aspired to be after that, when I went to college, I went to Indiana University in my home state that I lived in Indiana, and I wanted to be a doctor. So I was pursuing pre-med, and it was not easy, not easy at all. And then I was about 3 years in, and my aunt married Nightmare Danny Davis. So he became my uncle when I was 20, I guess, 18, 19, 20, about 20 years old. And he opened a wrestling school in Louisville, Kentucky, which was just 20 minutes away from my hometown where I lived. And then I met Danny before he opened that school. I met Danny at Christmas, one Christmas when they were first dating before they actually got married. And I don't know if anybody will remember these guys. You can look them up, Google them. The Nightmares, Nightmare Danny Davis and Ken Wayne. Well, growing up, they were like one of my favorite tag teams because they were small and I was small, and they wore masks, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
And I was just a big fan. So when I met him, I was like starstruck. I was like, like, oh, hello. And he was so polite and nice and everything, and jacked up. And then when he opened a wrestling school, I had transferred from Indiana University down to like a satellite college, Indiana University Southeast. So I was going there, and so I could work and stuff. And then he opened his school, and I went to I was working at a hospital actually there in Louisville, Kentucky. I was working in the operating area. I was kind of like a gopher. They'd call in this room, hey, I need suture. Hey, I need a hammer. Hey, I need nails, whatever they needed for surgery. Don't know what surgery needs nails, but so he had his school pretty close to the hospital. And I asked if I could come over there, and he said, yeah, come on over. And I just want to check it out. And then he said, I brought sweatpants. Now that you've got to always be prepared. So I always was. So I had sweatpants and shoes and t-shirt, and took my scrubs off, put that on, got in the ring and ran around a little bit. And that was how it started.
Wow, man.
And now you know the rest of the story.
Wow, that's so crazy.
At 20 years old, I was 20 years old.
How convenient is that your aunt just marries the Nightmare? And it's just like, and you've seen this ad over and over, and every time you must be like, shit, man, like just one day, like I just want to do it. And then conveniently a couple of years later, so you got someone who owns a wrestling school in your family. It's awesome, man.
It was like it was meant to be, man. I was like, this is perfect. And I was his first student.
So how was training under Danny Davis for you? What was the experience like there?
It was good. It was good. He took care of me, and because I was his newly nephew, but he did expect a lot of me. So he was a little harder on me because he told me after I was training for a while, he told me that he hadn't seen somebody cut. And I don't know if he was just saying this because I was his nephew or if it was actually true. Now I think it was actually true. He was telling me this. He said he hadn't seen anybody in a long time that came along and started training that was a natural. He said, I just took to it like a duck to water. Because you're a natural kid, you're going to make it. And he said, I see that. So he goes, after, you had your career and you're retired and all that, you just remember what I said. I never forgot that. So that's what he said. Here it is. I'm telling you guys that.
And it's stuck with you. Awesome, man. Back to you, Carl.
Doug, everyone always has the story of their first match that they ever had. What was the story of your first match?
Oh my God. I was trained, and I only been training for about 8 months. And, so I was still green. I was still horrible,
Yeah.
So there were these two students that came in and started training under Danny, and they were more advanced. They were running shows, and they were already wrestling, but they came to Danny to get more training and tighten up their skill and learn more of the psychology and everything about wrestling. So they got in there and worked with me, and they had been talking to Danny. Is there anybody here who's ready? We go and do these shows in a little town called Central City, Kentucky, and it's small. It was an old abandoned garage or a body shop that had been turned around. They put a ring in the middle, and they put some bleachers on the sides, and it was a wrestling arena. Dirty, gritty. We're talking a great place to start wrestling, because the fans down there, they believed it was real, and you could do anything and they would pop. So they went down as this masked tag team that they were working on, and then they put me under a mask and called me, how ironically, a Texas hangman. I had a mask. I had a mask on. I wore blue jeans and a flannel shirt. And I was so nervous when I got in there. The only thing I could remember how to do was a headbutt. And I mean, my headbutts were real that night.
Oh, no.
I got in, headbutted one of the guys, and he goes, "Oh my God, tag out, tag out, tag out now." I couldn't remember how to do anything. That was my first memory.
That's great.
That's good stuff.
And it was that way from there.
Only one way to go. You went to
Yeah, right.
you went to the USWA in 1994. A lot of people we've had on the show at some point went through Memphis. What did you learn there the most, and how was that experience?
That was my very first job. And actually, you remember I was going to college to be a doctor, and then I had an opportunity to, my very first job, my very first experience with wrestling was with USWA. Danny kind of helped me get that set up a little bit, and I had to make a choice. Do I want to wrestle, or do I want to continue school and go be a doctor? Well, we know which way I went.
Yeah.
And I had that conversation with my dad, and it was not a good conversation. It was bad. But anyway, he was super proud of me now after doing what I did, pursuing a career and getting as far as I did. But back to your question, USWA, here I was 21. I was 21, 22 years old. I think this was, it was 93 or 94. I think it was 93, wasn't it? 93 or 94?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. So I was 22, 23 years old. I mean, we're talking 6'2", 100 and nothing, soaking wet. I mean, I'm talking scrawny. I look like Carl. I look like you. No offense in that picture. In that picture you took.
Oh yeah.
That's about how big I was. But anyway, man, it was a great experience for me because I got to ride up and down the road. A lot of the veterans would ride with the young guys and get free rides, obviously, because the young guys would drive and use their car and take them everywhere. And while you're doing that, you talk and get experience and knowledge from these guys. So I rode up and down the road with a lot with Nature Boy Buddy Landale. He taught me a lot about cutting promos, and I got a story I'll tell you about Buddy Landale. So he taught me how to chop also. Rode up and down the road with Dream Machine Troy Graham. I don't know if any of these names, if anybody remembers any of these names. Wildfire Tommy Rich, PG-13. And those are the main people that I would ride with because I live in Louisville, Kentucky area, and Memphis, Tennessee was where they shot TVs. And like on a Friday night or on a Monday night, I'd be in Louisville. I have to drive all the way to Memphis, Tennessee for Memphis Coliseum Monday night. That's when they had their big shows. And then Tuesday, you drive back to Louisville and for the Louisville Gardens. And then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you'd have house shows. And then Saturday morning, you drive all the way back to Memphis, Tennessee for TV taping on Saturday mornings live. And then you'd go to Nashville, Tennessee Saturday night for a show at the Nashville Coliseum. That was that loop. So I got a lot of experience riding around with a lot of those veterans, and I got to work with all kinds of people. Even worked with Sid Vicious.
Oh yeah.
Oh dear.
YouTube that one. A story about Buddy Landale. I rode with him a lot, and I was wanting to learn how to chop because I watched the chops at the chest, So there was a battle royal in Louisville, Kentucky. During the battle royal, he goes, "Hey kid, come find me in the battle royal. I'll show you how to chop." So, okay. So I went when the battle royal was going on. I grabbed him and said, "Hey buddy," and he popped me and goes, "Get in the corner." So he threw me in the corner. Boom. He threw a chop. Pow. I go, "Oh, why did I ask for this?" So he threw a chop on me, and I was like, "Oh," he goes, "Here, let me show you again so you can get it." I'm like, "Okay." So he threw my arm over. He chopped me again. I was like, oh my God. Why did I do this? And he goes, "One more, third time's a charm." Shapop. He goes, "Okay, now poke me in the eye, turn me around and give me one." I said, "All right." So I poked him in the eye, turned him around, and got him lined up, threw his arm over the top rope, and got ready to throw the chop. He poked me in the eye, turned me around, chopped me again, and says, "You got it, kid. You got it, kid."
Awesome.
So, what a rip! I got ribbed, but I learned.
Fantastic.
I learned two things there.
Awesome, man. So transitioning from the USWA in 1996 is when you first went to Ohio Valley Wrestling, just from what my research tells me. So how did that come about, and was Danny Davis in charge at that point?
Yeah, Danny Davis. He was always in charge up to, I'm not for sure when he sold the company, I think to Al Snow,
Yeah.
which is where I'm at now with Al. Yeah, Danny, it started out as the Nightmare Danny Davis School of Professional Wrestling. And then he had this idea and this dream of wanting to create Ohio Valley Wrestling, OVW, and then have shows and have TV. So from 20 years old until I went to the WWE, signed my developmental WWE, and actually moved up, I was with Ohio Valley and Danny the whole time. Always continued my training, always went to classes, always doing house shows that he would have. And then when he eventually started the TV, obviously, became, I guess, one of the focal, one of the main stars for Ohio Valley Wrestling TV.
Yeah.
While I was continuing to, work on my body because I knew I had to get bigger. The USWA was an eye-opening experience for me. I was little. I was too small. I got the job because I was Danny's nephew. We'll just go ahead and say it. But it helped get me some experience, a little bit of exposure, and then they said, "Thanks, go get bigger."
Okay. Over to you, Jack.
So you've already sort of told us a fair bit about the Nightmare Danny Davis, but do you have a sort of a funny story about him?
Oh man, funny story about Danny. I don't know if it's funny, but I remember the first time I actually wrestled Danny.
Yeah, sure.
I was nervous. He's my uncle, and he's a big-time superstar.
Yeah.
And it was in the very first Ohio Valley Danny Davis School. But it's the second spot he had. It wasn't really big. It was just big enough to have a ring in it. You could hit the ropes and almost touch the sides. And the back had like this backdrop. And then it just had people on one side. So we were running the show, and Danny, I was wrestling Danny out of it was just because it was like uncle against, family against family. That's how it was billed and booked, and we were out there working, and Danny was calling stuff, and he would call, let's just say he would say arm drag, and I would try to go for hip toss. It was horrible. And here's the funny part. He shot me in, did something, and said, "Please take an arm drag." Please do it right this time, is basically what he was telling me. That's a funny story with Danny in the ring. And another story, the first time I rode with him, which shocked me because he used to always, when he and my aunt got together, he was jacked, right? And I was always wanting to know, could you give me a diet? I need to get bigger and all this, and I need to know what to eat and how to work out and stuff. He goes, "Okay, yeah, you ride with me to the show, and I'll talk to you, and I'll show you what to get and what to do." And I guess I thought he was ribbing me, but the only thing we ate, he had like, protein shakes and stuff like that. And he'd get one for me, and this is how you do it. And you drink this, and this is what I do. And then on the way home, he stopped, and he stopped at Burger King, and he got a Whopper with cheese and fries and whatever to drink. And he goes, "And you always end your night like this." I'm like, "What? Fast food? You need to have fast food?" But I started doing that for a while, and then, every night I would have Burger King. I didn't know. I thought if I ate Burger King, I'd look like him. And I'm like, went to him, a couple months later. I said, "Danny, I don't know if this Burger King every night is working. It's just, I don't feel like I'm getting lean." And he's like, "No, you idiot. It's a treat. You do it once a week." Now you tell me. Anyway, that's my funny stories.
Well, funnily enough, the next thing I was going to say was, what's something you learned most from him? But I mean, it kind of sounds, the Burger King story sounds like it's probably something you might have learned the most from him. But what is a serious lesson that you did learn the most from Danny Davis?
How to work and how to conduct myself inside the ring, outside the ring, and just psychology, how to tell a story in the ring in 5 minutes, which is hard to do, but if you're trained right and you know what you're doing, you can do it. That's the main thing. I owe him everything because he taught me everything.
Yeah.
And well, you know, a couple others. Jim Cornette, obviously, I owe a lot to Jim Cornette and another individual by the name of Rip Rogers. I don't know if you guys know who that guy is.
I definitely know now.
I know. I owe him a lot too. He played a pretty big part in teaching me the psychology of wrestling. You know, think what you want about Rip Rogers, but the guy, he knows his business. He knows how to train people too.
He certainly does. I actually interviewed him Friday night. And
Really?
I'll just tell you what happened. So I had organized this a couple of weeks prior with him, and I had informed him that I was calling him on my computer, so it might say private number or something like that. Because if I call on my phone, I won't be able to record it. I had to do it on Skype. So I tried to call him. It was 1 a.m. my time, so midday for him, and he didn't answer. And then he messaged me on Twitter saying, it's saying that it's a risk spam call. You know, don't you fuck me on this. Are you trying to fuck me on this? And I'm like, sir, I promise you, I'm not trying to mess with you. It's just, this is what happens when you call from a computer to a phone that's not used to getting a call from a computer from Australia, right? So he said, whatever, just make the damn call. So I called a second time. He answered, and I got chewed out for like 2 minutes straight. And he
got a promo on it.
My favorite. I mean, I almost laugh because I'm like kind of popping that Rip Rogers is just reading me the riot act. He says, if you fuck me on this, I swear to God, I'll find out where you live and I'll fucking come and cut your dick off.
That's
And then
like
he
Rip.
said, now start the damn interview. And then I just went, welcome to the WZWA Network podcast, and pretended nothing had happened. And we had a very nice chat for an hour. So
That's Rip.
That's awesome.
That's Rip. Classic Rip.
Can't wait to listen to that interview.
Oh, dude, it's yeah, he's hilarious, man. He really is.
Because he's funny, and he knows the wrestling business, man.
Sorry to hijack you there, but Jack, back to you.
Yeah. So obviously coming up through that time, as you said before, the reason you essentially had the job was because of Danny Davis. But was there anyone in the locker room at the time that you connected with the most and was able to sort of have your back?
Are you talking about in my earlier days or later?
In your earlier days.
Yeah. Well, I think because I was Danny Davis's nephew, a lot of the guys would look out for me, and you know, because kind of like family.
Yeah.
And so there really wasn't any one person that would. Buddy Landale, rode up and down the road with him, even though he was using me for a ride. I didn't care. I was getting knowledge. I was getting valuable experience from him. But he would kind of look out for me a little bit when riding up and down the road and talking. And he would say, "Hey, you know, when you're doing this, you need to not. You need to just shut your mouth and just listen."
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, yeah. If somebody's trying to tell you something, just shut the f up and listen.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. There was one instance where. It was one Tuesday night, and Louisville Gardens, there was this battle royal, and this was back when Sid Vicious was in Memphis, Tennessee, just before he went to go be Sid Justice, I think, up in the WWE. He came to Louisville to work with Lawler and I guess get ring condition. I don't know what, just work on his work, I guess. I don't know. Or WWE wanted to go there first just to get things up to par. So, and when Sid was there, the houses were, they jumped up. People wanted to come see this monster because he was just a specimen to look at. And so there was one Tuesday night, and here I am. He was 308. I remember this. He was 318 pounds, 6'9", I think, 6'8", something like that, 7, 8, 9. And I'm 6'2", and I was weighing in about $180, $175. I don't know. He outweighed me by over 100 pounds. And or it seemed, yeah. And then the winner of the battle royal got a shot, and this was when he was a champion. He beat Lawler, and he was a champion at USW at the time. So the winner of the battle royal gets a shot at the title, gets a title shot that night. So somebody thought it would be a great idea if the hometown kid gets the title shot. So I win the battle royal, and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be bad. Here we are. But then I was like, no, not really. Because, it's, we all know how wrestling is. Okay, so I'll be fine. So I win. Crowd goes ballistic for the hometown guy because Little Kentucky was supposed to be my hometown, even though I live in Indiana. They didn't need to know that. So I'm sitting there. I'm the only one in the ring. I'm in the middle. Raise my hand. Sid's music plays. He's walking down the aisle, and I'm like, my God, he's impressive. That's a big, big man. So he walks down, he gets in the ring, and he grabs a microphone, and he cuts a little promo and goes to congratulate me. Congratulations, you're a young kid, wants to be want to be a superstar. Now, you know what? If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. He stuck his hand out. Shake my hand, kid. So I went to go shake it. Of course, you do the thing. Should I shake his hand? Okay. I went to shake my hand. He slapped me in the upside the head so hard, I saw stars, and I didn't know what was going on. I went, what did I say something wrong? And that match, it only lasted about 3 or 4 minutes. He beat the living hell out of me. He bent me over where I was bent over like that. He football punted me, American football punted me in the stomach so hard I almost puked. He did it about 4 or 5 times. I mean, and then he would club me on the back, and I thought he was going to break my spine. And then when his finisher was the power bomb, right? He picked me up, and again, 318 pounds, big dude, 175 pounds wet. He didn't just power bomb me. He turbocharged, put everything he had into it. And he threw me down so hard, I thought I was going through the mat. I hit my head on the mat. I was out cold. And back then, the referee was the old wrestler named the Angel. Frank Morrell. He comes over and goes, "Kid, you okay?" And I was glossy-eyed, and he goes, "Oh, he's hurt. We need some assistance down here." So I was out. It took me a little bit to get out of the ring. So I finally get out of the ring, get to the back, and everybody's gone because obviously I've always told you, thank you, sir. So that was Tuesday night, and I don't know if I had a concussion or whatnot. I don't know. I didn't go to the doctor. Didn't have insurance. Who cared? So Saturday was TV, right? So I get to Memphis, Tennessee at the arena or the TV studio, and Randy Hales, who was the booker, comes up. "Hey, I heard you had a good match Tuesday night with Sid." I said, yes, it was great. Remember Buddy Landau? You just agree with everything. Don't say no, don't complain, nothing. Yeah, it was great. Because I heard it was so good. We're going to put you on TV with Sid tonight, or Sid this morning. I went, I almost shit my pants. Is what happened. I'm like,
Oh no.
I was nervous. My stomach was ate up. I was nervous. I was sweating bullets the whole time. And I got to go out and cut a promo. That's actually, you can YouTube that match on, you can YouTube it. I've got it in my archive. I watch it over and over again. So I'm thinking, I'm going to get beat up again. It's over. I'm done. I'm probably not going to make this one. So we go out there, and I don't know, I'm probably giving up some of the secrets of pro wrestling, but I don't care. I'm retired. We went out there, and I was expecting just to get my ass handed to me.
Yeah.
We go out there. I cut my promo. Sid standing up here by Lance Russell, and I'm cutting my promo, and he goes, "Go on, kid, go on." And he's like, "Sometimes you just got to teach somebody a lesson." I heard that, and I'm like, oh shit. Okay, come on, here we go. So we get in there, and the guy took care of me. I didn't feel anything. Everything, when you watch it, it looked like he killed me. Straight up professional. That story, because I got another story to tell you about Sid. When you was asking me if anybody oversaw, helped you out.
Yeah.
So, a few months went by or whatever, and Sid had moved up, and then this is back when, I can't remember what year it was, the Undertaker had these creatures of the night that were sitting in the crowd, the 2 people that were dressed in black with pale face. when he was
95.
working, 95, when he was wrestling, working with Kama, I think, the Godfather now.
Yeah.
So he had these two people that were sitting in the crowd, and that was me and some other girl. And we sit there, and we're supposed to be two fans of The Undertaker. And the storyline goes, he has his fans and a wreath, and Kama was supposed to come out and destroy the two people and just get heat. So when I was there for that, the second time I went up there to do this on TV, I was walking down the hall, and you see Sid. He was walking down the hall too. He looks up and he goes, "Hey, Doug Basham. Hey, man, how you doing?" He come and I was like, ooh. As soon as I saw him, I got nervous, right? And then but he comes up and gives me a hug. Says, "How you doing, kid? Hey, come here. I want to introduce you to some people." So he took me and introduced me to some agents and stuff like that, people there. And again, I'm 175, 180 pounds wet, right? I'm a small guy. They didn't even know I was a wrestler. They thought I was an actor. But Sid's introducing me to these agents and all that and going, "Man, I'll tell you what, keep your eye on this kid. He's going to make it. Keep your eye on him. Don't forget this name. Don't forget him." And he introduced me to some of the people up there, and then small talk with me a little bit and said, "Good luck, man. Good seeing you," and walked off. So Sid ended up being the most scary man to me in the world, to one of the guys that put me over with the agents and some of the guys up here in WWE. And I guess maybe some of them kept me on the radar. So I made it.
Wow.
That's my Sid Vicious story.
Do you think he laid the beat down on you the first time to test you?
Yeah, I think it was initiation.
Right, okay. And once he knew that you were man enough to take the beating and come back a second time and not complain about it.
Absolutely.
You're all good at his book. Wow.
Yep. Didn't complain, didn't say nothing, just went on with it. I told Uncle Danny, I said, he beat the living hell out of me. He goes, "Good." Good. Good about that. He goes, "Are you hurt?" No, it's okay. I went, so that's my initiation. Okay, I got it. I'm over with Sid now, I guess. Which I was. I guess.
Good.
I don't know.
Yeah, we'd love to have a show one day.
Yeah, awesome. I'm hopeful that we'll get him sometime. I know that I'm talking to the guy that runs his podcast at the moment. So I wanted to fast forward a little bit to 1998, July 5th. You won the OVW heavyweight title for the first time, and it appears that you worked a little bit with Rip Rogers around that time as well. Yeah, how did it feel to be given this spot as the guy that's now the top guy in OVW?
Well, there was a little bit of time there that I took off from OVW, and I took some time away from OVW wrestling to work on my body to do what I need to do to get bigger. Because I think this was a time when OVW had the developmental territory come in with Jim Cornette.
Yep.
And I saw all these guys coming in and all this talent coming in. And I had an opportunity either to try to keep wrestling and star, or go to work at this Ford Motor Company factory and make a little bit of money while I be a weekend warrior and hone my skills then. So obviously I had to take the job because got to make money, right? Yeah. So you heard the term "fake it till you make it," I guess. So, and at Ford there was a first shift and a second shift, and I was new in the company, so I was on second shift. I wasn't able to make OVW TV, but I would come to classes on the weekends, Sundays, and train still when Rip was there and others. So I may be answering a future question you guys already have, but Ford and Jim Cornette was trying to get me to come be on TV, be like, "You got to switch shifts, get on TV. I want to have you on TV, yada, yada, yada." And there was a Ford Motor Company had developed a third shift, because A crew, B crew, and a C crew. And C crew was like a swing shift on the weekends. You had 2 mornings and 2 nights. It was rough, but it allowed me to be free through the week to do TV, and also at nights, Friday and Saturday nights, to do house shows. So when I knew this was coming, I had this idea of how I wanted to come in and introduce myself, and Jim Cornette had this idea, and he threw it at me. And I watched the movie 8mm with Nicolas Cage, and there was this character in there called Machine, wore the mask that would slice and dice all the girls in there and kill them. And I was like, that's me. that's who we need in OVW, because nobody knows who he is. You know, when he uncovered him, everyone like, it's you? Oh man. So that was kind of the storyline that Jimmy was wanting to follow. And I brought that idea to Jimmy. He loved it. I went out and developed the character, and then I got in there with OVW, and then the storyline went. I was trying to undermine Danny, take over the company, take out all his top talent. I was jealous of Nick Dinsmore because I was like, Nick Dinsmore, he wanted Nick Dinsmore to be his son and not me, or his nephew and not me. And of course I was mad and jealous. And then I just tried to wreak havoc and became champion. And that's kind of how all that developed, if that was the answer to your question.
No, I was just, I had read, I mean, I haven't had the chance to see any footage, but I had read about that storyline, and I thought it sounded like really interesting, especially working with your uncle. And and so, I guess that led to you becoming the OVW heavyweight champion. You know, how did that feel to be given that spot? Was that?
Oh, it's always good when a company would put all the weight of the company on your shoulders, and you know you're the champion. They want you to be their champion. You got to represent, I guess, the company and represent the, you know, in the storyline that they're putting you in. So it's always good whenever a company puts the straps on you. It means they're giving you a shot and giving you a chance, and you see if you can run with it.
Yeah. So I also read that as Machine, that the storyline kind of concluded with a retirement versus mask match against Nick at the Last Dance on June 27, 2001. So it's quite some time that story went for. Tell us a little bit about that and the final match.
It was a final match as the Masked Machine, because they built it up, and it was I think it was a big show at the Louisville Gardens, and where it was a big venue, and they brought in some WWE stars to be on the show and all on the show as well, to help build the card, or to help build the crowd, which it was so sold out. There were so many people there, and the storyline was keyed up as career against Mask, and of course I knew I wasn't going anywhere, and the mask was going to finally come off, because it was we did a pretty good job of hiding my identity, because when people saw me before, I was a skinny, small, skinny guy, and when I came back, I mean, I was jacked. I put on a lot of weight. Nobody didn't know that's not Doug, or nobody knew who it was, and I wore the mask all the time and kept my identity secret, so nobody knew who I was. So whenever it was the most awesome feeling was when we were in there and Nick beat me and I had to unmask, and it's like everybody was on the edge of the seat. Who is this guy? Who is this guy?
Yeah.
And did the slow reveal, and pap. Oh no, it's Doug Basham. That's Danny Nephew. And everybody was like, what? No. Because I used to be a likable, good guy, you know. Baby face back then, and then I turned heel. And then it all made sense, and then got my heat, man. Got some good heat.
Awesome. It sounds so fucking like dramatic and just brilliant, man. Like,
It was, man. That storyline, even after I was unmasked, I was still the Machine, Doug Basham, but I was unmasked, obviously, was probably the best work that I had been a part of, even in my WWE days, the storyline, because it was so long. It was such a soap opera. It was good, man. It was well written by Jimmy.
Awesome.
And well performed by me.
I just want to chime in here, Carl.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Is this the same OVW show that's sort of got some clips on the network where it's got sort of like, I think it's Edge and Christian, I think Kane and Undertaker were maybe on the show as well, from memory. I know there's some very old, and I think they have fan cam clips as well on the WWE Network of some old indie shows, but it's got some like, it's from 2001, so the same time period. I'm just wondering if that's from the same shows, like as from when these clips are from. I know that it's got Edge and Christian. Do you know what I'm talking about, Carl?
I know that like anytime OVW did those big shows, whether this is the show that you're talking about or not, that you know those big stars would always come in. So maybe it was this time, but maybe those clips are from other times, because I think it happened several times.
Either way,
I can't remember if that show you're talking about, if Stone Cold Steve Austin was there for that one.
Oh, geez.
Or I think Kane come down and wrestled with Leviathan, which is Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
then
that's the show. That's the show.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think
That's
that's
the
the
one
one.
I'm thinking
Yeah,
of. Yeah.
Ah, cool.
The Batista character's ringing a bell. The one, he's old with the chain around his neck and everything. Still going
Yeah.
through that.
How
Crowd.
awesome was that, man?
It's awesome.
he was a specimen, man.
So I also was watching some footage earlier about a group you had called the Revolution, which had various members. I couldn't really locate who exactly was in the group. I think Muhammad Hassan, John Morrison were also a part of it, possibly, but Victoria, a few others. And then there was the segment that I watched was, I think you and Danny were face to face with Jim Ross and Jim Cornette, and you called out Brock Lesnar, and then Benoit was Lesnar's replacement for the match later on. And the crowd were hot, and I was like, man, these guys are really good on the microphone. I wish they'd let them talk in the WWE. Tell me a little bit about the Revolution and that run that group had.
Well, that was you're talking about in the 2001 or 2002 era, I think, maybe 2003 too, just before I moved up. Me and Danny moved up, and actually that match you're talking about was when Jim Ross was there, was what actually got us moved up. Yeah, because I worked with Chris Benoit, and that was the first time I'd ever been in a ring with Chris Benoit, who was one of my idols. I wanted to be as physical and as aggressive as him and stuff like that. So that was like a dream come true for me to work with him. And then, but who was in the Revolution that day? It was me and Danny. Was it Nikita, the blonde? I had the blonde. Nikita was with me at that time. I think Jackie Gaeta
was with and Victoria was in the ring with you guys. I'm not sure if there was anyone else there.
Oh yeah, no, it was. That's right. Victoria, yeah, it was Victoria. That was before Nikita, before Victoria, because she was on the road full time up there, so we were working her way out, so she could not come working her way out off the TV show. That's right, because I remember I threw her in the ring to distract, to get the heat. And there was a guy, we called him, he was a local guy named Smooth Johnny Spade. That's who the guy was.
Right, yeah.
He was like we called him the Gimp. Like Pulp Fiction.
All right,
Break out the Gimp. We had talked about dressing him up in a full leather bodysuit, but he said, no, I'm not doing that. It's okay. So, and the Revolution had people coming in and out all the time whenever we had to replace people, and there would be a storyline that would move one person out and move another one in. And what was the question again? Went on a ramble here. Sorry.
Oh, it was just tell me about the run that the group had and your favorite memories of it.
Oh God. I don't know if I can pick out one favorite memory at all, because it was all so fun. And every time we'd come to TV, Jimmy would have it written out for us, and it was so well written. It was in stages, and every TV meant something because it worked its way up to tell an end result, an end story to a final big Louisville Gardens pay-per-view. Not a pay-per-view, but it would be like a pay-per-view, our big event. And being able to work, being the Revolution, I thought we were like the main faction in OVW, because there was also Bolin Services but and then they had the group with Leviathan and what were they called, the something of Pain or whatever, can't even remember. But there's Jimmy liked having those factions in there. I thought we were the main one. I felt like we had the main storyline with Danny Davis and all that, and always trying to undermine. But getting to work with a lot of the talent that come through that are now, were not now, I think there's a lot of retired stars, was probably the best part that I remember about being in the Revolution, because we were the main. I say we were the main storyline. Working with Chris Benoit, working with Rhino, working with some of the guys that would come through that were injured and that had neck surgeries and injured. Danny and Jimmy trusted me enough, or I'll just go ahead and say it, the most, to work with these guys and not hurt them.
Yeah.
Re-injure them.
And I believe the group Batista was in was called the Disciples of Sin.
That's it. Yes.
That's it. And before I throw it back over to Jack, I did want to ask you a little bit about like the end of that group. I believe you had, I think maybe you had a match with Danny, and after the match, the Revolution attacked you, and then Danny made the save for you. So that's you know, I guess that's probably one of the final moments you had in OVW before you were called up, or
Yeah, that was it. Danny and I had already been called up, and so we
Okay.
were still doing OVW TV. And Jimmy, this man, if you ever get Jimmy Cornette on your show, he'd have him tell you a story. It's
Oh,
so
I'd love
fun.
to.
He can go on and on and on and on, man. He's awesome. But OVW, let's see, WWE had put me and Danny together as the Basham brothers, and Jimmy we had this feud going on down in OVW where we were fighting each other. So like the WWE totally screwed Jimmy by having
Yeah.
their top heel and their top baby face were, wrestling each other, and then they made us brothers up there. So he had to come up with a creative idea to make it work. And so that's kind of what he did. And the whole thing was I was moved up. I had moved to Florida, Tampa, Florida. So I was having to fly in and out. So they were wrapping me up with TV, but Danny still lived right there in the area, so he could still come and do TV. So it was the loser leave OVW for good. That's it. And at that time, I was like, oh, thank God I don't have to keep work. I can go home and be home for 2 days, 3 days instead of one. So that match happened. I lost, obviously. Danny won the belt. The crowd went absolutely nuts. It was perfect the way we did it. The crowd was super nuts. And then I was cut a promo. Danny cut a promo saying, it was great, toughest SOB I ever wrestled, blah, 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 but he was the man. And then they come into the ring with me, and I cut a promo, and I was like, hey, it's been a great run, but, it's over. He was the best. Danny was a better man, and he dissolved the revolution. It's over. But then Rob Conway said, no, it's not over. Gave me the ego trip, and then they kicked me and beat me down. And the way Jimmy set it up, he set it up this way because we were going to be on TV, where I was sitting there and I was, it's over. And he beat me up, come out, save me, and just gave that look like, see you on TV, bro.
Yeah. Cool.
So it's Jimmy kind of helped obviously save the storyline in OVW, and also helped us in OVW or in WWE as well.
Excellent. Over to you, Jack.
So when WWE would start being more prominent behind the scenes in OVW, did that lead to turmoil when they would start to try to sort of insert what they wanted into OVW?
Say that again? I didn't hear you.
I'll repeat the question. So when WWE would start being more prominent behind the scenes at OVW, did that lead to turmoil when they would try to insert what they wanted into OVW?
Yeah, oh yeah. Because Jimmy wrote the TVs, and he would always think that WWE is always trying to screw up his TV and screw with him just to have fun and poke fun. But Jimmy was pretty clever, pretty smart. Written TV, knows how TV is supposed to be written, and Jimmy always had an answer to anything they threw at him. He always had an answer and always made it work. So yeah, they would try to throw some curveballs at him, but Jimmy was a step ahead of him.
So in 2001, what was it like when there was an influx of talent after the end of WCW as well? I can imagine there would have just been so many guys coming in, wanting their shot, wanting to just do what they can do to make the best of that situation they were in. And obviously for all you guys that were still at OVW and you'd been there for so long. So how was that for you guys on your end when there was that influx of talent after the end of WCW?
Well, whenever all that happened was when OVW got the WWE developmental contract, and that was the developmental territory. So they were bringing all these guys in. So we welcomed it. We're like, all eyes are on us.
Yeah.
So it was a good thing these guys were coming in, and it was an even better thing for the guys like me, Damaja, Danny Holly, Rob Conway, Nick Dinsmore, because we worked with these guys, and the OVW TV, we were working with John Cena, we were working with Randy Orton, we were working with Dave Bautista, we were working with Brock Lesnar, Shelton Benjamin, and the whole slew of Victoria, the whole slew of others that come through. So whenever WWE creative was watching these tapes of these guys, they were seeing us as well. So we got some exposure too. So it was good. It was a good thing.
Excellent.
Do you have any sort of stories about that's just when you think about how stacked that roster is and how how the amazing things those guys did. I mean, that's Batista, Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Randy Orton, Shelton Benjamin. I mean, you could just go on and on. Do you have any like sort of cool stories about those guys from back in the day?
Probably none I could tell. Just X-rated, R-rated, PG, what? No. I mean, I was, like, what do you want? You have to help me out a little bit more. I mean, you want wrestling stories? You want outside of the ring stories?
Yeah, that's out of the ring. Let's
go outside of the ring stories about those guys. They're a little less common, so let's try that. And also, for the record, we have no limits on the show. So whatever you feel is your limit, you go for it.
The thing back then, I didn't hang out with a lot of the guys after the shows and stuff like that, because I had other responsibilities I had to take care of, and they were here, and a lot of guys would go out. Do you guys remember Sean O'Hare?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Irish guy, obviously big, scary looking dude, loved to fight. There was this place we would go, and he said, "Hey, Doug, why don't you come out with us?" And of course, because I never went out, I didn't go out. You know, I stayed home. I didn't go do that. I didn't do much. But he was like, "Man, come out, man, come on." I said, "Come out." I'm like, "Sean, I'll do it for you. I'll come out with you and have a drink or two, and then I'll leave." So we get there, and there was a group of us sitting off to the side, and had some drink. Rest in peace, Sean. But a group of us there, and there's something was happening over off the side with one of the guys who were like not a main roster guy, but like a guy training and wanted to come in and be with us because we were one big family. And some big dude was kind of messing with this guy, and Sean just stands up and goes, "Hey, you're messing with my friend." The guy turns and looks and goes, "All right, man." And this is another big dude, and Sean just steps up and is like, "Ugh," like that. Like as far as other stories, man, I really don't have a lot because I didn't go out and afterwards and hang out and party, if that's what you want to call it, stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I don't have a lot of juice. Sorry.
That's all right, not a problem. So I wanted to now start getting to your WWE run. When was the first time you found out that they were interested in bringing you, Danny, in as a tag team?
After our match with Chris Benoit, I think a week or two before that, Danny had worked with Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle came down.
Wow.
And had a pretty good match with him too. So when Jim Ross come down to do the TV and Benoit was there and Brock was there and I think Randy Orton. Randy was at the other one, I think. Come down. He had some one-on-one time with Jim Ross and could tell him about the matches that we had and give him tapes so Jim Ross could watch it and see it. And then they brought us up. And funny story when they brought us up is I had went on the road prior to Danny coming up. So when John Cena got moved up to do Ruthless Aggression before he went on to be, John Cena, I had gotten moved up too to do dark matches. And me and John, John had been up there a little bit before, maybe a few weeks before me. And then me and John, we rode around together and road buddies, I guess you call us. So we'd ride around together, and I'd had a lot of dark matches, and they were looking at me. And then they brought Danny up because Jim Cornette had pushed to Jim Ross, "Hey, you're not going to find a better tag team than these two guys here." So then when Danny came up, we did a dark match, and then the next week, let's see, who do we work? We worked with can't remember who we worked with on dark. All these headshots. But I'll just get to where I was going with the story. They didn't know what they're going to do with us. They were going to debut us, and they didn't know what they were going to do with us. So we were setting in catering, and we knew we were going to work. We just didn't know with who or what we were going to be. So Johnny Ace comes to the table and says, "Hey guys, we're gonna be working with Rikishi and Spanky, and you guys are gonna go over tag team maneuver, and we're gonna call you the Basham Brothers." Of course, I'm like, "Yes, yes, yes, love it." And Danny's going, "Yeah, all right, yes, that sounds great." But inside, he's like, "Oh God." It was funny. He looked at me after. He goes, "Well, I guess I'm your brother, bro." I'm like, "Well, welcome to the family." So that was our when we found out we were going to be the Basham Brothers. And then there was one. Our debut was with Rikishi and Spanky, and then the next week we worked with Eddie and Tajiri. I think they were the tag champs. I think.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
We worked with them, and Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. They were the. I think I don't know. I think they were called the world's greatest tag team at the time.
Yeah.
And I think they were in a program with Eddie and Tajiri, I think. And we had an amazing match with Eddie and Tajiri. I mean, it went perfect. I mean, it was great. Couldn't have been better. And I heard someone told me that, who was it that said it? I can't remember who came up and told me this. They said, "Well, Shelton was sitting back there watching your all's match, Shelton and Charlie." And Shelton turned to Charlie and says, "Why do I feel like somebody just stole my girlfriend?" Having a good match, I guess. We stole their girlfriend, but there's a backstage story for you.
Yeah, cool.
That's great.
I was also just looking on online, and it appears that the first match you had as a team might have been at a SmackDown house show in Fort Myers against A-Train and Chris Canyon.
Yes, I think I do remember that. Yes. Yes. I remember that. It was like, I can't remember. The building was an odd looking building. I don't remember if it was Chris Canyon. I can't remember, but it probably was. But I remember A-Train because we had to double suplex him, and that we got really good reviews on that house show run on that loop.
Oh, cool.
And I think that's when they finally came and said, "We're going to debut you guys." Yeah, thank you. You jogged my memory.
Cool. I also wanted to ask you, you're entering the WWE now at a pretty important time in wrestling history. How was the locker room back then when you first, entered, and were the guys welcoming of some new guys?
It's just like any freshman going on any type of varsity team. You're the new guy, and that's where you do what you're supposed to do. Be polite. Listen, do what you're told. Shut your mouth. And until it's your time, because you gotta prove yourself, prove that you're worthy of being there, and that is shown through your work and how you are as a person and how you conduct yourself. So it's up to you how welcomed you are.
Absolutely.
We passed the test.
I can imagine
like hazing of the new guys.
How did you feel about being asked to shave your head?
I didn't mind whatsoever because I started going bald back here, and it was.
I was watching that segment where you were calling out Lesnar, and I'm like, okay, so when they asked him to shave the head, he was probably like, yeah, that's fine.
I'm good with it. I'm okay with it. And as you can see, I've kept the hairstyle. Cheap and easy. But man, did you hear the story about Jim Cornette when I shaved my head and I come back? Oh, you've got. He has when you guys have time, there's a Jim Cornette podcast. Yeah. And you got to listen. You've got to listen to it because he tells a story way better than I will. But I'll try and give you the gist of it. So went up there. Me and Danny were doing a loop, and Johnny Ace wanted to see what I look like with my head shaved. See how me and Danny would look, which is why they wanted to make us the Basham Brothers. I think he had that plan. So I went to the whatever, whoever cuts hair, I call it the barber, shaved my head and went back to Johnny. This is it. This is what we look like. And then come back to OVW because we flew in. The loop was over on Tuesday, and you fly back home Wednesday morning, and then we had OVW TV on Wednesday night. I show up to the arena because I had a mullet, a mullet, yeah. Right, and the hair back here because I couldn't grow it up here, but I could grow it back there. So I had that, and I had it long like that on for a reason. One, it's a mullet, 2, when you get hit, the hair will fly. And 3, it was easy. So I show up to the arena, and Jim Cornette sees me, and he blew again. What the did you do? How come you cut? Oh, he just went off. And the main thing he goes, why the hell? You look like a 40-year-old truck driver. I'm like, thanks, Jimmy. I don't look like 40. I was like 30. I think I was 30, 29 or 30 at the time. You look like a 40-year-old truck driver. God dang it. Blah, 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 blah. It wasn't funny then, but it's funny now. But yeah, so he thought that they wanted me just to cut my hair just because, just to get it Jimmy. But I think their vision, they wanted to see what we look like. You couldn't imagine it. Jimmy's like, you couldn't imagine what it looked like, Paul. You had to go ahead and cut his hair. We could have had a hair match. He could have lost it. Oh my God. You just ruined it.
He's just thinking about what could have been done. Yeah.
And that would have been great, because I could have lost my hair, and that would have been a great angle, because that would have helped build another star, cut my hair.
Yeah, for sure.
It would have been great, but hey, I was not upset at all.
Well, I'll tell you what, Doug, I've been going through the same thing with my hair for many years, the thinning of the hair right at the back, right at the front. And I'll tell you what, my friend, I have joined the club.
Let's see what you got, buddy. My man. Bald's beautiful, bro.
Oh man, it's so much easier after you've had a shower. You're dry in 2 seconds. You don't have to worry about it.
And you pay no more for haircuts. You do it yourself, right?
That's
like, I shaved my head 5 years ago, and I won't lie, I do miss it. I miss the feeling. Like, but I'm due for a haircut. That's the thing. I've got to go.
You know what? Look, you got hair that goes to the front of your head, Jack.
It's nice, isn't it?
Be proud of that, because I wish I had that. I never had that. So
hang on to that, Jack, for as long as you can, bro. Because if I could grow hair everywhere, I probably would have a full head of hair too. So
me too.
I'll give it a go, but everyone in my family is balding, all in the same spot as well. I noticed, so I would assume once you get to that age, right about there. So once you get to that age, my dad's going to be looking like Hulk Hogan soon. So
then it's time just to let it go, just cut it off.
Exactly.
Jack, it's over to you now, bro.
Shaniqua joins the team. To me, I think in my eyes, that was a great combination. You guys, Shaniqua, it's unique. What was your thoughts on it, and how did you feel like she blended into the stable?
Well, Shaniqua was an amazing athlete. She played basketball. She was a star athlete in high school. She was a star athlete at Rutgers University in basketball, and she had a tremendous athletic ability, and she was just a specimen. I mean, she was ripped more than me. She was jacked. I mean, she looked like a darker China, a little bit smaller, darker China. She really didn't know wrestling that well, and kind of, I don't know this, you'd have to ask her, but my opinion, and I don't want to put words in her mouth, but I think she saw this toughen up thing and was wanting to try another chapter in her life, and saw something, competition, because she was very competitive. So she saw a competition, she came, she won, she kicked its butt, and came with us. And the reason they put her with us is because one of the writers in WWE went to a Britney Spears concert, and they knew that me and Danny wore black leather pants, and I guess Britney had on like an S&M costume, and all her dancers had black leather pants on, and the writer said that gave him the idea of having some dominatrix with the two guys and create a story. We didn't really care what they did with us. We just wanted to work. I really didn't know much about S&M or how it worked, so I had to research a lot of that. I think Shaniqua did too, and they sent us. This never aired, but they sent us to New York, and there's a lot of crazy things in New York, right? Didn't know these things existed. They rented out this building that when you go in, people pay money to go in to get tortured, I guess, guys, by women.
Yeah.
There's like these chairs, looks like a electric chair, and it's got these devices on it, and there's stuff hanging on the wall, and I'm like, what in the hell is this? There's padded rooms. There's one room that has this big thing that you get on. It goes around and around and around. There's a donkey in there that you lay on. There's a bird cage in there. There was this torture rack bed that had these shackles on it. I mean, it was something else. So we went in there, and this was how they were going to introduce us. You know how the WWE they would do like these promo packages for a star before they go out there, so it kind of introduces them. It's kind of what they were doing with us. And we did all this stuff in this place, and the real dominatrix was coming in and working with Shaniqua, trying to teach her how to be dominant. And here's a story. I'll tell you this story. Okay, you want stories? It's all coming back.
Here we go.
So me and Danny are in this building, and the dominatrix was training Shaniqua and said, you need to dominate these boys. You need to let them know who the boss is. And Shaniqua, she goes, now try it. Shaniqua did something, was trying, whatever, and the domina, or whatever you call her, said, no, let me show you. And she gets in there, me and Danny, she said, stand next to each other. And we just kind of straighten up, stand next to each other. We go, oh, okay. So we get like next to each other. And this woman was probably 5 foot. She wasn't very big, but you could see she looked like she was in pretty good shape. And probably at the time, me and Danny, I was 30. I guess I was in my 28, 29, 30. I can't remember how old I was when I moved up. And Danny is like 5 years younger than me. So here we are, two young kids. And this was a late 30s, early 40s woman. You could tell, attractive. She was attractive. Tells us, get on your knees. And me and Danny just kind of looked and like, what? She took her hand, grabbed Danny's junk and squeezed it. He goes, oh! And guess what I did? I dropped to my knees real quick. Okay. While he's slowly getting down to his knees. And then she had this like little whip thing, was kind of hitting us and asking us questions and telling us, you speak when I tell you to speak. So, and then it was Shaniqua's turn. It was Shaniqua's turn, and she tried to do the same thing, except she didn't do the nut squeeze. She left that out, but she was being a little more dominant. And then after that, we had to film something where me and Danny were giving her, I guess, some pleasure. So we had her laying over this donkey, and she was laying backwards and had her head up like that. And we had these paddles, and we were whapping her right in the ass, and we were hitting her hard because she was hitting us with paybacks, right? So receipt. Yeah. She was hitting us with that leather whip thing, and it was like, mother, stop. But we couldn't say stop because we didn't want like a couple of, you know what that is. Yeah. So we were hitting her so hard, and we were messing up on purpose. Oh, we messed up. Can we try it again? Like, yeah. Okay. And oh man, I'm sorry, I messed up. So we did that. We messed with her and messed up a few times on purpose so we could get her. But she was a good sport, man. She took it like a champ, and but as far as in ring and working with her, she was quite a specimen. And I wish now me and Danny had the belief of, a lot of the focus needs to be on the ring and the wrestlers and not necessarily the manager. But in the WWE, they kind of think of things a little different. If I can go back and redo and live that part of my career over again, I would have done a lot of things different, and I would have put more of the focus on Shaniqua, because she's the one that was the main focus of the match. We were just earrings, man. We were just ornaments. She was the Christmas tree. She was the main focus. So if I could have go back and redo some things, it would have been done totally different. She would have been more the main focus. I would have spent a little bit more time talking to her about the psychology and why we're doing stuff, because me and Danny wanted the match to be focused on us and less her. But right. The WWE, I think, wanted to be more on her because she was just she was a China. She was a sight to see you just don't see very often, because she was jacked and she looked good in the outfits that she wore, and
she was gorgeous.
She was just jacked, and of course I saw that visually, and I was like, I can't let this woman jacked than me. I got to get in better shape, which I didn't know how to do. But yes, working with Shaniqua, or working with Linda, it was good and it was fun while it lasted. I just wish I would have done a few things different and put more of the focus on her and have more highlights with her. But you know, we had to work to her limitations also.
Yeah.
But that's my Linda Miles.
That's
Wish
an
we'd have done
amazing
things a little bit different. The New York, I don't even know what that place was called. New York Torture Chamber. I don't know what it was called. But I've never been to a place like that before in my life. Probably won't ever again.
Neither have I, and I don't think I ever will. But
Well, you should. You should go try it out. You should usually experience at least once. Yeah. I'm sure they got some there in Perth.
Oh, definitely. I know that they do. Yeah.
So, sort of moving on from the SMM gimmick into something a bit more fun. Well, not fun, actually awesome looking back at it. You end up winning the WWE World Tag Team Championships from the Los Guerreros in Eddie Guerrero and Chavo Guerrero on October 3rd in 2003.
October 23rd, to be precise, Jack.
23rd, sorry.
Sorry.
03 or 02? It'll be 03? No, 02.
Yeah, it has to be 03. Yeah, so 03.
You didn't put the year on the here, so...
Sorry, my bad.
That would have been a massive moment for you guys. How was that finally? So you're in the WWE. This is your first championship. That's a massive moment. How was that for you?
It was a dream come true.
Oh.
There was a couple of things in my career that I wanted. One, I wanted to work for Vince. I wanted to work for the WWE. When I got there, I was like, oh, one down. Two, I wanted to work with a couple of the stars, my idols, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Undertaker. I wanted to work with these guys just so I could say, oh, I did it. When I finally did, that was two things checked off. Three, I wanted to be in a WrestleMania. Was in WrestleMania 20, where it all begins again, and walking out of Madison Square Gardens.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if they caught it, but when me and Danny walked through those doors and come out, there was about a split second where I came totally out of character, and I went, "Oh my God!" And oh shit, character. There was a split second where I took it all in, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is why I did this." Right. All those bumps, all the training, everything. This is it. But I don't know if they caught it or whatever, but there was a noticeable moment. And then the final thing was to be a champion of some sort, tag, intercontinental, TV, international, heavyweight, didn't matter, in WWE. Yeah. And we did that. So all four things checked.
Amazing.
And winning him from Eddie was one of the guys that I admired and wanted to work. One of my guys that I watched when I was moving up, because he could technical wrestle. He was entertaining. Winning him from them was, well, we didn't win him. They you don't win anything. You just go through the store and they hand them down to you, and you represent the company as champions. But after it was over, me and Danny came through the gorilla and walked and got back in the back area, and then I was waiting for Chavo and Eddie. And Eddie comes through. Chavo came through. Hey, guys, thanks. We said, "Thank you, Chavo. Thank you, and gave a hug. And he said, "Thank you much." And Eddie comes up and says, "Good job, boys." And I'll try to talk like Eddie. "Good job, boys. Now represent the company and wear them proud. Good job." I was like, I couldn't speak. I was like looking at Danny like, "Oh, did we win him? We didn't win him. We won him from Eddie." Two great superstars, two great guys too. So that was a pivotal moment. It was a dream come true. So I could say that was check box number one.
Amazing, man. So glad to see that you were able to check off the four things that meant most to you. That's just, it feels good knowing that someone got to have their dream come true.
You know what, man? And the thing is, too, in my life, I always wanted to be a professional wrestler. And whenever I was just growing up and trying to become a professional wrestler and going through training and all that, I would hear whispers of people kind of making fun of me and making fun of, oh, he's going to be a wrestler. He's going to be working in bingo halls and all this. And
Yeah.
these people who used to be wrestling fans in our town, people would kind of make fun of him a little bit. Oh, a little bit. They'll be their number one fans. But then, I guess I don't want to say revenge, but success is the sweetest.
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for now? Revenge, I guess. I don't know. Success is the
Redemption.
sweetest. There you go. So when I would come back to the town, these same people were coming up. Oh man, hey Doug, can I get your autograph? You got a picture? Can we get a picture with you? So it felt pretty good, and let them know that it's just like if you want to be a professional football player, man. You play football in high school, you play football in college, then you make it to the NFL, man. It's kind of the same with what I got. It's a professional sport, professional sports entertainment, and not everybody can do it, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I want to say. I was like, you try it, see if you can do it. But I did it, so it's something I always hold. I did it. I made it.
Cool, bro. I wanted to ask you about the point in time where they took Shaniqua off TV. I don't know if she got released or if she was sent to do extra training. I've got a little bit of my research is a little bit conflicted. Some say she went to OVW, others say that she got released. And this is also after you both lost the titles as well. What did you think, first of all, of them taking her off TV and out of the group, and also losing the titles? And it seemed like the push that the team had went away for a little while before you were in the cabinet, and you were doing Velocity and putting over, a bunch of the teams. What was going on all there?
Shaniqua got taken off TV twice. Once because she went to get implants, and that was when we had a match with APA and Bradshaw gave her the clothesline from hell, and that was supposed to take her out, and then she came back because she had surgery. And the second time, I think Shaniqua had went to Vince and was trying to talk to him about something, and I think I heard Vince tell Johnny Ace she must have rubbed Vince the wrong way or something, and Vince said, send her back to OVW, get her off my TV. And then I think I didn't help the situation any when we were going to drop the titles to Rikishi and Scotty. Me and Danny were like, man, are they doing it just on regular TV? Why wouldn't they do that on a pay-per-view and build it? And I said something to Michael Hayes about that, and Michael Hayes is like, I made a cardinal sin, big mistake. I opened my mouth. I should have kept my mouth shut. So to anybody listening to this out there, when you get up there, the boss tells you to do something, shut your mouth and do it, especially if you're new.
All right.
So I said, why wouldn't we drop him on a pay-per-view? And Michael Hayes had that look on his face. When he had that look on his face, I went, oh God. I said, oh, why did I just...
Oh, man, I can't believe you have to be on such eggshells there. Like,
yeah, we were new.
You just asked a question. I mean, and it makes sense.
Well, it's what the boss wanted. So Michael, you go ask the boss. And I'm thinking, might as well, yeah. He come back and said, it's because that's what Vince wants. And I was like, yes, sir. And it was everything from there. Then after that, we dropped the titles. After that, we were on Velocity for about a year. We went to house shows and we were putting people over left. Which didn't matter. We didn't care if we put people over. There is no win-loss column. We didn't give it. We didn't care. We just wanted to work. So we were on the road. We were working, having good matches. I don't know if it was like put them on the road and see how they react to losing every night. But little did they know, we didn't care. We were working, and we'd go out and we had great matches every night with it didn't matter. I mean, we put Zach Gowen over.
Yeah.
A one-legged guy that was no bigger than either one of you two.
Yeah.
But we didn't care. We had entertaining matches. We're glad to be working, getting paid. And then there was a little stint there where we were off TV. And then we come back and did this Tough Enough thing. Yeah. And then was with JBL in the cabinet.
Right. Yeah. It just blows my mind. It's a multi-million-dollar company and $1 billion company, and someone asks one question and the punishment goes for so long. Like, gee, I just don't understand that thought process.
Eddie Guerrero told me this. He said this. He goes, no win to no win. And I was like, to no win. I think I understand what you're saying. I think. Okay. Know when to open your mouth and know when to shut it.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what he was saying. He said it nicely.
um,
Eddie and I talked a lot. He kind of took me under his wing and was helping me and coaching me along and helping me understand some of the politics of wrestling. So and I hated it when he passed away because my mentor, I guess, who was teaching me, you know, when to know when, had passed on. So that was a big loss. I hated it.
yeah,
Hated that he passed on. But
me too. He's one of my favorites.
oh yeah.
I wanted to ask you what it was like working with the Dudleys, one of the greatest tag teams of all time. You guys got to have a few matches with them, I'm sure.
We did. Had some house shows. It was gravy. It was gravy, man. It was easy, and it was great. We go out there and tear the house down, have a good time, and we knew the people. When you see the Dudleys, what do they want? They want waza, and they wanted get the tables. So it was so easy, and the match was irrelevant. We go out there and have an entertaining match and do whatever. They do their stuff. We'd get heat on them, and I'd get nut shotted, and Danny go through a table.
Cool, man.
Easy, and it was fun. It was fun, man. They were easy, great guys to work with.
So you do join JBL's cabinet as the Secretaries of Defense. So now finally you're getting back to where you're kind of at, and you're getting a bit more of the push. So how did that all come about? The idea behind it, and what was it like working with John?
Oh, how we got there was, you guys remember the Tough Enough? Was it Tough Enough 3, I think?
With like Daniel Puder?
Yeah, Daniel Puder and all them guys. Well, the couple of segments before that, a couple of the stars kind of got, embarrassed a little bit because I think Daniel Puder keylocked Kurt Angle.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
The Big Show did a body slam challenge. The guys were popping straight up like it didn't hurt.
Yeah.
And then Vince said, we can't have that. Then they had a segment where they did dressed up as, girls and all this other stuff to try and take the heat off of what had happened. And then they had a segment where me and Danny had to guard a flag behind us, and the boys had to get through us to get the flag. Whoever got the flag, got so many points or won, whatever.
Yeah.
So that day we were told we were going to be doing that segment, and that segment was a 100% shoot. There was no work. It was full-on competitive competition. So do you guys remember Hugh Morris?
Yes.
Yeah. He wound me and Danny. Me and Bill DeMott were really good friends, by the way. Really good friends. I went to his wedding and everything. Really good friends. But Bill DeMott, he wound us up that day and said, boys, you know why they put you in this? Because me and Danny had been off TV for a while, and we've been just doing Velocity, and this could have been the opportunity for WWE to get rid of us or do what they did. And Bill DeMott brought that to light. He goes, you guys know what's at stake, right? And we're like, what? Well, if any of those boys get that flag, we went, are you kidding me? So we were getting ourselves worked up, and Bill DeMott, every chance he got all day long, reminded us of that and said, and he was like, do whatever you have to do to keep them boys from getting past you. It doesn't matter what you have to do, rip their hair out, hook them, choke them out. You do not let them get past you. And we were like, and then we were like, we're sitting there, we're getting worked up. We're like, I got, they're not going to get past us.
Yeah.
And then we get into the ring to walk, before the whole show starts. Vince is in there. The Tough Enough kids were there. Me and Danny's there. And we walk around the segment. Al Snow is up there, and we're all going through everything. And then the segment's kind of over, and Vince comes over to me and Danny, and he goes, boys, you see that flag over there, right? And we go, yes, sir. He goes, short of killing anybody and sending them to the hospital, do not let them get past you.
Yeah.
What do you think was just said there?
Exactly.
They get the flag, you're fired. Basically. So we were like, God damn.
Fresh is on.
It was like, if they get past us, we're fired. We're done. Me and Danny went back. We talked about it, and we said, whatever we got to do. Said, hey, hospital, choke them out, eye gouge, thumb in the nose, fish hook, whatever. They're not getting past us, whatever we got to do. So that's the mentality when we went out there to do that. That's what we thought. And we didn't know this until the whole thing went, well, we went out there and we stopped them. So, and Danny, one of the guys, had hit Danny so hard, it cracked his bone, knocked his eye socket out. It broke one of my teeth. So I was bleeding. Danny was hurting. He had to go I think he went to the doctor when we went back home. He didn't let anybody know that, but he went back and goes, man, I bruised my orbital bone or whatever. It's like, it was real. So after we had done that, we found out that they had Charlie Haas and Bob Holly waiting on deck. So if somebody got past us, they were going to replace us and put them out there to keep. Yeah. So they had them on deck. We didn't let them do it. So we went through everybody, and there were some big, strong dudes there. Then Daniel Pewter finally got up, and he got the closest. And the only reason he got as close as he did was because me and Danny, our arms were jelly. We were like sucking wind, because conditioning for amateur wrestling and doing what we do, it's different. It's totally different. And we were not conditioned to do that, hold them down, all your strength, all at the moment. But anyway, we stopped them. So what had happened, how we got with JBL, is the Undertaker and JBL had went to the boss, and they said, and the Undertaker told me this, actually, told me that the boss put you boys in jeopardy, so it's time you guys need to be rewarded, because you guys went out there and represented and did what you were supposed to do. Yeah. And so they came up with the idea to put us with JBL and JBL's cabinet, because he had Orlando Jordan, and then that girl who was his publicist.
Man, what's her name again? Amy something.
Yeah, Amy. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So then the following week, they were going to introduce us as his cabinet, and that's when I think Eddie Guerrero and Booker T, I think they were the champions at the time, I think. Was that right? I believe.
Yeah.
Yes. And they were I can't remember who they were working that night, but me and Danny were sitting in the crowd. Well, actually, no. They were going to have us, Booker T actually stepped up and spoke up for us. They were just going to have us run down and interfere and do something. And Booker T said, oh, hell no, hell no. So we're going to bring these boys in. They're going to make an impact. Let's do it right. He said, let's have them sitting in the crowd and come out of the crowd and douche us both. So that was Booker set it up and made it more than what they originally had. So, Booker T, because, he wanted to, if they were going to work with us, he wanted to make sure there was a legit reason other than just running down. So, we had I had mask on, I think Danny did. We had on Eddie Guerrero t-shirts and all that. And then Booker was on the outside of the ring. I think Danny dropped Booker. Eddie was on the top of the ring. I came up and I dropped Eddie and then cost him the match. And then we had our program. Started off our program with JBL, and then we had our program with Eddie and Booker after that. So that's how all that happened.
And I believe that girl's name was Amy Weber.
Amy Weber. Oh my gosh, I got a story. I got a story for you.
Please.
I got a good story for you. See, it all comes back. We were doing a show over in Japan, right? I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but I'm not in wrestling anymore. Who cares? We were overseas in Japan, and they were doing. That's when JBL. There was a segment where JBL was act like he got tranquilized, and he was wandering around the whole. This is when he and Big Show were having their feud. Yeah. Me and Danny went out just to go see Japan. I think we were in Tokyo. Just went out to wander around. We were going out late, not one night to eat, find something to eat. And we went to this little district, and these people over there in Japan, people come up and hand you these cards. Oh, hey, yeah, you got to go. You guys go. It's advertisement for strip clubs, basically, is what it is. Yeah. So we get this card, and when we look at it, we go. And we look at each other, and I go, Danny, is that who I think it is? And Danny looks at it and goes, oh my God, it is. On their advertisement, they had a picture of Amy Weber. Amy Weber on there. And we take that card, we go, we got to show the boss being JBL. So we took it back to JBL and showed it to JBL. And then we had some fun with that. So I'm gonna stop the story there. But we had some fun with that.
Fair enough. Yeah. No, I remember hearing something slightly about that many years ago.
There's more. There's a lot more to the story, but
That's okay.
I'm gonna leave it alone. It was awesome.
Jack, it's back over to you. We're up to the part where they Basham's won the tag titles the second time.
Yeah, sure. I reckon also just on the document, let's just flip the names. So yeah, winning the tag titles
fair
again,
enough, yeah.
and the push returns. So obviously this would give you guys some sort of sense of hope, like, hey, this WWE thing might actually lead somewhere. Yeah, what was your mindset going into this? And obviously, it was short-lived. Take it away.
Well, the reason it was short-lived, I'll start and go backwards. The reason it was short-lived is that Vince wanted us to split. He wanted to split us up, and wanted to have us in singles career, because that was back when they had the draft, and they drafted Danny to Raw, and I stayed on SmackDown. I think JBL and Undertaker wanted me to stay there on SmackDown because they had been helping me as well, hone my entertainment ability, whatever. And then Danny went over there. So I do believe, and I don't know if Danny knows this or not, but I think I was the one they were going to try and focus on to push and move up. And Danny was just going to be thrown in the mid card, and if he makes it, great. If not, not. So I was supposed to come up with a character and something to present to WWE, and I tried to come up with a character that fed it to the writers. It just got lost in translation, and it never happened, and then my career was pretty much over. So that fifth box, I never got the check. I never got a singles career with WWE. So I got 4 of the 5. So that kind of happened. And, I take full responsibility for my career being in the demise of Doug Basham and the WWE, because I didn't, that ball they give you, I think I fumbled it. So, hey, I own that. That's on me. As far as being with JBL, it was we had spent a year or so on Velocity and putting guys over and just going out working and having fun, having great attitudes. It didn't matter. Then that Tough Enough incident came up, and then it put us with JBL. It elevated us. It took us from here and brought us up to here with JBL, and it gave us another run. We were on pay-per-views. We were with the champion. Granted, we were just the crash test dummies for him, but we didn't care. We were just going to ride this thing out and see where it led. And eventually it was to lead. We became tag champions again. We had a great run. Worked with all the top guys again on all the pay-per-views, WrestleManias, helping JBL, and made some money. So and then wherever it led after that, we knew where it was going to go after that. They were going to split us up eventually. We knew that, but
yeah,
we just didn't know when. We just ran with it, bro. We just ran with it.
And it's great because no matter who JBL's working with, that means that's who you're working with. So if he's working Undertaker, you're working Undertaker.
Yeah, one of us is going to take the tombstone. The other one's taking the last ride.
I'll take those any day of the week, man. I don't give a fuck.
Hey, what? The first time I took the last ride, boys, that is a long way down. It felt like slow motion. Undertaker put me up there, and he goes, "You ready, kid?" And he goes, and I'm up. I'm doing my thing. Like, oh my God. And when he let me down, man, it felt like I fell forever before I hit the ground. It's a big bump.
I'd be popping so hard, man, the whole way down. God.
He'd probably try to throw you through the mat. Me, he just kind of laid down.
He would. I would
Sid Vicious you.
Through it. Yeah, he would Sid Vicious me. It wouldn't be a good sight.
I'm joking, man. Undertaker he was a professional, man. He's one of the greatest.
Definitely. Where are we up to, Jack?
Oh yeah, that's me. It's me still. No, it's me still.
Okay.
So by June 2004, you two quit the cabinet and are separated. So obviously you've sort of already spoken about this now. So we'll sort of move on to the actual singles run. What was your initial feelings towards you being sort of by yourself? You're in the WWE now, and you are now technically solo. So did you sort of face any challenges transitioning from being solo, being a tag team wrestler, to being singles?
The only challenge that I was trying to overcome was coming up with a character, coming up with something for creative to work with. That was the only challenge. As far as being a singles competitor, at that point I'd been 15 years into my career. And, you know, I could do singles, I could do tag, I could do anything you wanted, I could do. So I was very confident in my ability to perform whatever they needed, and was looking forward to a singles career. And I was ready for that next step. I think Danny was too, ready for that next step for both of us.
Yeah.
But the main challenge was finding a character that would resonate and that the boss would understand, boss being Vince McMahon, and that the writers could write for. And when I threw my idea there, the writers just it got lost in translation. And then when I went out there to try and perform it, it didn't work at all, man. You can go back and see on YouTube and watch them. You would go, okay, what is he?
Yeah.
And basically it was supposed to be a guy. I was going to use my last name and call myself the Bash Man. And basically I would just, you know, kind of bash people. Kind of a little bit what JBL did, but JBL did it on a political side, on a political platform. And I was going to do it and compare people to what was going on in the news. Like I think at that time, Janet Jackson had that
A breast.
pop out, pop out or whatever. And I was going to, I would compare, and I was going to use Eddie Guerrero. Say, oh, she's just doing that for attention. You know, shame on you people. It was an accident and all that. But what's not an accident is Eddie Guerrero using his drug problems, his drinking, writing a book, trying to get attention focused on him, blah, 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 blah. And turn it around and bash him. And then bash the people who were bashing. Right. So, and then my catchphrase was going to be, you know, you've just been bashed, you know, so, but that was my idea. And how it got to what you saw, I was talking to about some guy about living the dream and all that. I'm like, it's not what I planned on doing.
They didn't get where you were trying to come from.
I just totally got lost in translation.
It blows my mind that they're the creative team. They should be the ones coming up with the ideas and the characters. I mean, they used to come up with things for people all the time. And, you know, The Undertaker, Mankind, they always came up with them in creative services, I guess, what Vince Russo used to call it. So, yeah, it boggles my mind that they can't think of anything themselves and they've got to rely on you to come up with something for yourself.
That was orders from the boss himself. He took me and Danny aside and set us down. I remember we were leaning on a crate and the boss was right there and he said, I'm going to move you to Raw. You're going to stay on SmackDown. I want you both to come up with something and get with creative and show me what you got. And he walked out. He said, okay.
Interesting. Yeah.
I've got an interesting story for you guys, kind of off the wall, something I'll share with everybody that I've shared before. It's a neat story, totally random and off the wall. If you guys want me to tell it, it has to do with,
yeah, awesome. Go for
it. It has to do with Stephanie McMahon.
Oh, even better.
Brilliant.
So you know Stephanie McMahon's got these monsters, right?
They do.
We know.
So me and Danny had this idea. We wanted to kind of run it by Stephanie because she was running SmackDown, and so we caught her off the side and we said, "Hey, Stephanie, when you have some time, today, could we talk with you?" She goes, yeah, I got time right now. So me and Dan's like, all right, cool. So she had on this V-neck sweater, and it was really loose because she had big knockers, right? So she couldn't wear really tight clothing. So we go and we get up the hallway and there was a couple chairs, full chairs. She put one down for her and me and Danny put two side by side. So we were looking straight at her, right? So she's got on this loose sweater. And me and Dan start talking to her and she's talking to us and she lays down she's writing stuff down. And then she puts her clipboard down on the ground and puts her elbows on her knees and is leaned over looking at us, and her shirt just goes, it pops open. I mean, if you wanted to, you could look down and you could see everything. I never stared somebody in the eyeballs and never lost in my life as I stared her straight in the face, right in the eyes every time. And she had to have been messing with us because she was leaned down and she knew, because every time she would look away at Danny, I followed her eyes. I didn't take my eyes off of her because, peripheral, you could see if somebody's doing this. So we finally get finished talking to her. And then she gets up, says, okay, boys, maybe get with Hunter and ask Hunter and talk to Hunter or something like that. And we're like, Hey, thank you for your time. Thanks for listening to us. We appreciate it. And she goes, all right, boys, good idea. Good idea. We'll work with it. She leaves, and me and Danny turn and look at each other. Our jaws drop, going, was that not the hardest thing you've ever done in your life? Not just look down and stare at her jugs hanging down. And we were like, oh, God, that's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, boys. Just so you know.
Triple H is a lucky man.
Interesting story. I figured you guys might like that.
I love it.
Totally random and off the wall, but you said you wanted some stories, and they're starting to come back to me a little bit.
I thought your
They're
situation
awesome.
with Sid Vicious was tough. That
was
That
scary. Yes, I guess this was scary too. If I look down, what is going to happen? Oh my God, I want to look down so bad, but so, I'm not a pervert, but come on, man.
Maybe she thought because you guys did the S&M gimmick so well that she wanted to see if you two really were deviants.
let's see what they think about this. Oh man, that was actually that was torture. She was the dominatrix there. She tortured us. But that was funny. That was the hardest thing. One of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Stare at the boss's boobs.
Oh, yeah. That's difficult. Another thing I found very interesting, and I actually didn't realize this was you guys in as.
Oh, you didn't know that, bro?
I had no idea up until.
Yeah, I remember wondering who the hell it was, and I was like Googling it at the time. Who were these guys?
When was this?
ECW is Paul Heymans Enforcers.
Yeah.
I had no idea up until reading this document about an hour ago, and I was just like, "Oh no shit! Wow."
Absolutely, that was me and Danny started out, and then Danny tore his bicep doing a clothesline on somebody and couldn't work, so they replaced Danny with a guy by the name of Derek Nykirk. And he and I gelled pretty well as a tag team too, but that was us, the Enforcers, yeah.
How was that experience for you guys? Like, I mean, WWE ECW wasn't.
It was shit. I mean, everyone knows it was shit, and it was a stupid. They weren't going to bring it back and put it in small arenas and let it be like the old thing. Then don't do it at all. And
Dude,
I just wonder what it was like wearing those fucking helmets you guys had to wear.
It was what it was. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah. It was what it was.
Yeah.
But an interesting story. We were overseas. It may have been over. Were we when we came to? See, I think did WWE come to the Austria once or twice?
A few times. I know twice specifically for Perth, but after that they stopped doing Perth and they just went on the East Coast.
They did a SmackDown and ECW tour in 2007, I think.
Right.
And I remember it was SmackDown and ECW.
Okay.
I think, if I can remember, I can't remember if we were overseas in Australia or overseas, and they took the ECW brand overseas, I think, or if it was, I can't. Man, I'm sorry, guys. I can't remember some things sometimes. But we were wearing the riot gear, and you could hit us pretty hard with the riot gear. It didn't hurt because we had on those chest protectors and the helmet and stuff. But we were working with Rob Van Dam, and there was a spot called where he has his comeback, and he did this, flying kick to me in the helmet. He kicked me so hard it knocked me out.
Shit!
It knocked me out, or knocked me loopy. I'm gonna say out because I missed the next spot because he hit me and I went face planted. I was face down. That's what Danny told me, and he goes, "Bro, you missed your spot." Afterwards, you missed your spot. I go, "Bro, I was knocked the fuck out." I was loopy, but I didn't say anything. Didn't want anybody to know because I'm not a flower, but he thought just because I was wearing a helmet, he could kick me as hard as he wanted. And me and Rob Van Dam, we were friends. We were buddies, He just did it, I guess. He'll be okay. Knocked me the F out.
Damn, I can't believe he was able to knock you out with the helmet on. That's crazy.
I was shocked, too. Like, how hard did he kick me, man? I don't know. But anyway.
I guess it's over to me now, Jack. So you guys eventually get let go from the WWE. First of all, how did that feel to know that period of time, your career was over in that company?
Well, nobody is. I don't think nobody is really prepared for it, and nobody wanted to get let go, but it's inevitable, you know, when to every beginning there's an end. But there was always that hope of maybe if I keep doing something, I can come back or whatever. But I was shocked. I came home. Here's the story about my phone call. I came home. I was home for a funeral. My grandma, I think it was my grandpa. My grandpa had passed away, so I came home for the funeral, and it was maybe a day before the funeral or something like that. And I'm driving, pulled out of my dad's driveway, and was going to town to do something. And my phone rings. I'm like, oh, it's Connecticut. So I answer the phone, and it's Johnny Ace. He made the phone calls. Johnny Laurinaitis made the phone calls to, release people. And he goes, "Hey, Doug, Johnny, how you doing?" I go, "Hey, Johnny, I'm doing okay, man. I'm just came back home. I'm here for my funeral for my grandfather." He goes, "Oh God, oh God."
Oh no.
And then he just he goes, "We're gonna have to let you go." And he
my
just jumped
God.
straight to it. He didn't say anything, and I was like, I waited. It was like an uncomfortable 10, 15-second pause, and I go, "Is this a rib? This is a rib, right?" And then we had the conversation, because I had always thought that if you were a good worker, which I thought I was, you would always have a job, and that is true. You just may not always have a job in a company that you currently working for. So that was how I got my my release phone call, and it was pretty unexpected. But the next day, the very next day, on my grandfather's funeral, Jim Cornette calls, because he was with TNA at the time. He says, "Hey, when'd your non-compete up?" I go, I guess it's up. Was it? I guess 3 months. I think he had a 3-month non-compete clause. 3 months from yesterday, so it's whenever. He goes, "Okay, I'm going to try and get you guys at TNA." Hung the phone up. I was like,
Awesome.
"Oh, okay, all right, thumbs up."
Cool.
So
cool.
transitions, all it was.
Oh, that's great, man. It's great that your friend Jim was immediately there to be there for you. And as soon as you get the bad news, he's like, "Okay, I'm going to help my friend out."
Absolutely. He had just been waiting for us to get released anyway. He knew it was going to, I think he knew it was going to be just a matter of time, because because they'd split us up, and he's seen where it was going, and he knew it was just going to be a matter of time. As soon as it happened, he got the word, and he called us up, said, "TNA, come, you're coming to TNA." Okay.
And then that's where we're headed next in the interview, bro. 2007, you come into feud with formerly known as the New Age Outlaws, now known as the Voodoo Kin Mafia. You're working with Christy Hemme as well, who is just amazingly gorgeous. What was it like working with those guys, coming over there, working with Lance Hoyt at the time as well? Tell me about the TNA experience from the get-go.
You guys keep drinking them beers, make me thirsty. And it's only what? It's only 12 here.
I'm on the red wine now, so
went from beer to wine. That's a headache for tomorrow.
That's a
I'm looking forward to it. I had to do it, man. I had to do it.
Hey, sometimes you gotta let your colors show.
I'm having fun. So
There's nothing wrong with that, man. I have my coffee here. So the atmosphere from TNA to WWE, it was different. It was totally different. It was a lot smaller. It seemed like people were happy. Everybody was there wanting to help a new company grow and try and be competition. Everybody welcomed you with open arms. Nobody was, scared of losing their spot or anything like that. And there was no, at least from what I saw, no politicking to keep somebody down or not do this, not do that. And working with a lot of the guys over Lance Hoyt, working with Lance Hoyt was great. He's a great guy, man. One of the best. Christy Hemme was bubbly, and she was fun to work with, easy to get along with, super easy to get along with. And then we worked with the New Age Outlaws. I think they were called the James Gang. I think Kip and Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, and of course we worked with a lot of the other guys up there too, here and there. And we just I really don't know what happened. We just didn't fit the mold, I guess.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know what happened. Never asked any questions or anything like that. I know that Danny missed his flight once, or we didn't know that we were getting tickets. He didn't get his flight information, and supposedly he was supposed to be there for TV, and we were going to be. We had a segment on. I call him, Danny, we have a segment. I think he lived in Indianapolis at the time, so he couldn't just drive down to Orlando because he used to live in Jacksonville. So that kind of was a strike against us. And I think Jeff Jarrett, he was running the show then, kind of wanted us to look like a tag team. When we first got there, Vince Russo had came up to us and said, I see you guys as like a demolition, put face paint on, wear a mask or something like that. And me and Danny were like, really? We were kind of hoping to not be the Basham brothers again, but hey,
well, I mean, yeah, I mean, you've got recognition with the face. Everyone knows who the Basham brothers are at this point. You've been on just off WWE TV.
Yeah, I think we may have rubbed Vince Russo wrong there, but we didn't care. I didn't care. Jim Cornette was there, and he was going to. I was thinking he's going to take care of us, but then again, no win to say no win to win.
Yeah.
But then after we went through all that, and then they were going to let us go. We were only there for 3 months. We just didn't make the cut. They were going to send Danny home, and they gave me a singles tryout. I had a match with Jerry Lynn. I don't think it aired because what had happened is there was a spot we did where he did a flying head scissors, and Jerry Lynn was going to go over it as my singles tryout, and all I had to do was go out there and have a good match, and I would have made it. But I flew out of the ring, in the back of my head, right there where your skull meets there's like that little groove in there.
Yeah, the groove. Yeah.
There's a new nerve, the olfactory nerve or something right there. That's the judo chop nerve that you can, if somebody hits you, they can actually kill you, if you hit it hard enough to knock you out. That hit perfectly on the steps, and it totally shut the lights off, man. I was out cold, laying there. And then I finally, I guess if you hit that nerve, it paralyzes you. So I kind of was laying there, and I opened my eyes, and I was looking around, but I wasn't breathing. And then all of a sudden, I started breathing. So I have no idea how long I wasn't breathing or I was out. So then the referee comes down. So it hadn't been very long because the referee just came out of the ring, and he goes, dude, you okay? And I went to go try to get up, and I went, oh my God, I can't move. And the referee goes, what? I said, I can't move. And the referee's like, oh. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's like the light switch flipped, and I jumped up, and I was just up. And then, when you're knocked out, how you'll see somebody, arms will be straight, and their hands will be kind of, like that. My arms are straight, kind of like that, looking around, and I'm just trying to come to, and I grabbed the back of my head. I'm like, holy crap, my back of my head hurts. So I slide back into the ring, and I'm like, where am I? First of all, I asked the referee, where am I? And the referee's like, oh. So I slide back in, and I'm trying to get it together. I look over and see Jerry, and I'm trying to relay to the ref, I have no idea what I'm doing. And the referee just goes, he shakes his head and goes like that, and they ring the bell. Jerry gets out and walks out, and I'm just standing there. I'm like, where am I? And finally I walk to the back and go to the back, and everybody's, hey, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm starting to come to more and more and more. I'm starting to gather my bearings. And so they take me back and set me on a table and say, just lay there and rest for a little bit. And so I lay there and rest for a little bit, and finally come to, and then the back of my head looked like a pack of hot dogs, So I went to the doctor the next day when I got home. The doc get checked out. The doc says, do you know how lucky you are? And I'm like, I'm still here, so I guess I'm pretty lucky. He goes, yeah, you hit that nerve, you can die. I was like, okay,
Fuck.
I'm lucky. Thank you, doc. So that right there was that TNA didn't sign me or bring me back after that.
Right.
Jeez.
Fucking hell, man. I never knew that. That's insane. Yeah. My gosh.
Crazy.
Fucking
Jesus.
Imagine me when the doc said, you could have died. I'm like, huh? Could have died.
Far out.
Reality.
At Victory Road, Basham and DiMaggio were defeated by Voodoo Kin Mafia, and then they left the company. And that's the story that's fucking behind that. That's insane.
Well,
That's
pretty
gotta
much
go.
we flew in. We're supposed to fly in the next week, and Danny didn't get his information, or so he said he didn't get his information.
Right.
So it looked like Danny no-showed, and then that was Jeff Jarrett said, "You're done."
Damn.
Right. Speaking of Danny, your last match with Danny's team was on April 26, 2008. And you were working at JCW for the Insane Clown Posse. So what was it like working for them, and how did you react when Danny told you that he wanted to retire?
Working with the JCW and all that was just pure fun. That was just go out there and have a good time. You know, these guys out there are just a bunch of guys wanting to have fun, wrestle, and you know, make a little bit of money and put some stuff out there on the internet for people to watch. And they brought me and Danny and be the bruisers, you know, beat people up. That's what they wanted us to do, which we did. We tried to do it workingly and working with the ISP. They were a good group of guys, man. Just, I mean, polite, professional, and in-ring work and stuff. And they were very, very thankful, and it was good. I like working with them. I'd do it again. Well, not now, but you know, I agree to do it again if they ever wanted us to. And then they made this little videos for us and all this other stuff. When Danny said he was done, I said, well, bro, I said, when he finally said he was going to hang it up, I said, you know, I'm probably not going to be far behind you because I'm just kind of, I'm losing. I don't have it here anymore. I'm losing it. But the one thing I want to do, I want to travel the world before I finally hang him up and go get assimilate back into normal society, which was, other than looking down at Stephanie's boobs, was probably the other hardest thing in my life to do. So when he finally hung it up and quit, I got a agent and started getting bookings around the world, and did that for about a year and a half. And then the money started to go this way. The travel was getting more brutal, the airlines and flying and riding trains and in cars on buses and stuff like that. You know, I just said, you know, I'm done. I'm going to hang it up. And that was in 2008, I think, also. 2009,
I think 2009 it was, yeah.
Yep.
Over to you, Jack.
It gets like that, man. I can imagine after so many years.
Like, honestly, like, just to chime in quickly, sorry. Like, I sing in a rock and roll band, and being in Perth, Western Australia, only in the last like few weeks, I've come to terms with the fact that this big dream that I had is just not going to happen, and I'm going to have to come to terms with the fact that the dream I had is just off the cards, and I have to figure out something else to do with my life. And it's been very upsetting for me, especially the last few days, realizing that.
You know, and you can too, I'm sure. I had a career in wrestling and lived a life in wrestling that 100,000 other guys wish and hope and dream to do. I loved it. It was the greatest point in my life. But assimilating back into normal society was tough. It was tough. It was real tough.
I can imagine. Sorry, back to you, Jack.
Good luck.
Thanks, man.
No, so in the fall of this year, you became the advanced wrestling instructor for the Al Snow Wrestling Academy in Louisville. So working with Al Snow, we've had him on the show before. He is a incredible guy. He actually taught me a new asshole for the way we worded some of the questions, but only in the most like educational way, so he could teach us. And I could tell you right now, we learned so much off him just from doing something like this. So I can imagine just working alongside him would be an awesome experience. So how has been the experience working at the Al Snow Wrestling Academy so far?
So far, it's been great. I've known Al for, 20 years, probably 15, 20 years I've known Al. He's been affiliated with OVW, and seeing him on the road and actually seeing him overseas, running into him, not knowing he was there, and asking geez, what are you doing here? And he's like, well, Doug, probably same thing you're doing here. I'm like, no question, hug, nice to see you, and sit and talk. But I have only been back with affiliated with OVW for maybe, we'll say 2 months now. And the reason I've been away for so long, whenever I decided to hang my boots up and quit wrestling in 2009 and say I'm done, because wrestling is like, and Carl, you can probably relate with your music. Wrestling was my drug. That was my drug of choice, and I was addicted to it. I loved wrestling. I loved the feeling of the high it gave me whenever I was performing and making people cheer or making them boo. Just the whole ball of wax of what performing as a professional wrestler, sports entertainer, was like. That was a feeling that I don't think there's another drug out there that could give you the same feeling. So that was hard for me to give up. And the only way I could rehab myself, so to speak, was just cut wrestling out and not do anything and not be around it at all. So I totally shut the door on that. Part of my career, part of my life was over because I had to concentrate and start a new career. And I got back into because originally I wanted to be a doctor. So I got back into the medical field, and part of it with medical sales, because you can, do well in medical sales if you have a career, or if you may have a good career in medical sales and make good money, have a good living. So I had to concentrate on that, put all my effort into that, and not have anything to do with wrestling, or it wouldn't have worked. I would have been only given it half the effort. It had to be 100% or nothing to be successful. So I did that. And then I ran into a guy who opened a restaurant over here close by my house, opened a restaurant. And every now and then I will get fan mail, and they'll send me pictures or trading cards and ask me to sign them and write me a letter. And I'll sign the pictures and I'll send them back. Because if somebody's going to take the time to look me up, send me the stuff and write me a letter, I'm going to take the time to sign what they want signed and send it back to them. So I had there was a Army vet had sent me a big envelope and wrote me a letter. And if he ever gets to listen to this or hear this, it'd be great. And thank you for your service. But he said it helped him. What he's doing is collecting, and it helped him with his PTSD, post-traumatic. Did I say that right? PTSD.
Yep, that's it. Yep.
Yeah. Lots of shots to the head. But it helped him. He collected, and that's what he did. And he wrote me a letter, and I actually wrote him a letter back and sent him the pictures back and stuff like that. And I was showing these pictures to the guy, because it's a restaurant, but it's got like a bar you can go and sit at. And I've become really good friends with a lot of the staff there and the bartenders that work there, and had my mail because it was shipped to my dad's house, not my house. So I went up and got it and came there to go eat. Was looking through these pictures and say, hey man, check this out. And showing the guy the pictures. He wanted to see them. And as I was doing that, the owner of the restaurant walked by and said, hey, I'm Greg. He introduced him. I'm Greg, the owner of the place here. And I took those pictures. And I went, what? Hold on, you took these pictures? And then he explained his story, and I go, oh, hey, yeah, that's right. He used to take pictures of OVW back when I was the machine back there, because he's like to do. Everybody has a hobby. He did it as a hobby and would be a freelance photographer, and then he moved on. Eventually, worked for WWE a little bit. So that's how that. And then he and I met there, and we've become really good friends ever since. We go golfing. We go eat. Have a beer or something at his restaurant. And then he said he had all these pictures and didn't know if Danny Davis or Jim Cornette or Al Snow or somebody would want these pictures. So I had Al's number. I called him up and asked if I could come see him at the TV show. And at the time the COVID had hit and everything was shut down. So they were having to have a show because they're based out of Louisville, Kentucky. And there was an arena over here in Indiana. Indiana had looser guidelines, I guess he had to follow. So he was over here in Indiana. I went to the show, and biggest mistake of my life. I got to the show, and it's like doing this. Oh, back. And then talked to Al about the pictures, and then said, hey, man. And then started talking to Al more, come to more shows, come to more shows, come to more shows. And then finally talked to him. He didn't ask me at all to do any of this. I asked him if I could do this. And I guess Al had enough confidence in my ability and what I know to come on board at the school and help agent matches for OVW TV, and also one day a week I do training. I'm a trainer at the school for an advanced class for guys that come there and want to hone their skills, learn more from everything from ring entrance to promos to wrestling to just everything. I'm teaching these guys everything that I know. So feels good that Al has that confidence in me that I would be teaching the same thing that I don't know if you see it as the Al Snow. I'm wearing this for him. Awesome. School Wrestling Academy, OVW. And I don't know what your next question will be, but I'm just going to ramble on. But OVW has changed. It's the same, but it's changed so much. It's sorry, Danny Davis. It's better. It's better now. The TV production, the product, the people they're putting out there, how many television stations that they're on now. They are now. I don't know. Do you guys get OVW TV there in Australia?
We can't, but I am a member of a forum where I can download the shows for free. So OVW Overdrive, right?
Right, Overdrive, and then just the actual live TV show. You know, they just recently they're on Amazon Fire and Roku TV, so you can get it on Amazon Prime and Apple TV. They're on the Gladiator Sports Network. They're just now starting to get to where they're worldwide now and in millions of homes now around the world. If you go to ovwrestling.com, the website, there's a link there where you can get on ovwrestlingnetwork.com, I believe. Is that what you're on?
Yeah, that's something that I can get on, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to all your listeners and stuff like that, if they want to catch OVW TV, I know their Overdrive is on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube, catch some of the episodes. And it's like the most recent episode was just filmed like that Tuesday. The live TV show, I think you got to get on whenever it's airing. And I know that we're working on getting on more networks around, worldwide. I was trying to get a hold of Al. I forgot to get a hold of him, and I was trying to get a hold of him this morning to see what TV station or we could get on there in Australia so some of your listeners could catch it. But maybe I could email you that and you could put it on your show whenever I find that out.
Sure, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'd love to help.
That's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm really enjoying the other side of wrestling now, where I'm on behind the scenes, helping guys with their matches, agenting matches, helping train, because this old body, man, I don't think it can ever get back in the ring again if that was going to be a future question, because I've got a bad neck, I've got a bad hip, got a bad lower back, and it's just from all the bumps and everything from wrestling. It's things that I didn't think about when I was younger, what I'm going to be facing when I'm older, but giving back some of my career and what I know to some of these younger guys who are hungry and wanting to make a living and have a career doing this. And if you watch OVW TV, there are a lot of guys there and ladies that have a very bright future ahead of them.
Awesome, man.
Interesting, man. I have to catch some of that, man.
I want to watch some old OVW stuff too. I'm definitely going to sink my teeth into some of this stuff. I'm going to get on YouTube and go down the rabbit hole, I think.
I've been looking for an alternative for so long. So
Kentuckiana Classics, you'll find a lot of old OVW stuff, from the old Davis Arena to the new Davis Arena. You'll be surprised, and a lot of Jim Cornette wrote, and I've been going back watching a lot of it too, and seeing how storylines and how, of course, I've been watching myself, how I progressed as a worker, how not horrible, but how much better I got over the years, promos, wrestling, and everything.
Cool, man.
Awesome.
Definitely going to check it out.
Yeah, so obviously we've got one last segment and one last question before we wrap all this whole thing up. We want to be super respectful of your time, but this has been so fucking awesome. So,
It's been
Thank you, man.
fantastic.
what is one thing you wish you could have accomplished during your career that you did not get to during that whole time? I know that could be a very broad question, but yeah, is there anything at all that you could have accomplished that you just never got
Absolutely,
to?
man. Absolutely. I wish I would have had a singles career in the WWE.
Yeah, man. Just at least give them the chance. I mean, we've spoken to several people on the show where they've spoken about just not being able to being given that proper chance, being given you the opportunity to sink your teeth into something. And I just
Yeah.
think it's like, Carl, you said it's, to Alan Funk, you gave him that spiel where you just said it's so unfair.
Yeah.
Well, I think I was given the chance. I just didn't seize the moment. So,
Right.
I own that. I was given the opportunity to come up with something. Maybe I should have been a little bit more hands-on and said, no, I'm not doing that. This is how I want to do it. And then going out and performing it just didn't resonate with the boss. And so I'm not going to say I wasn't given a chance, but if I had it all to do over again, I would have definitely done a few things different. But I do wish I would have had a singles career in WWE.
Well, dude, you're still memorable. I haven't forgotten you. I mean, I knew who you were when I was fucking 7 years old. So there's something for you.
You're
how could
7, so
I?
you're like 39 now.
Yeah, exactly. I wish.
And how could I forget you, Doug? How could I forget you?
Oh man, that
Um,
picture you sent, I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all. I'm sorry, I don't. But
that's
I was like,
okay.
were we at a gym or where were we?
Yeah, it
But
was
I'm
it was inside the lobby of the casino, where you guys were staying at the hotel there, because you were performing at the Burswood Dome, I believe, which was like, connected to the casino essentially. So yeah, I was going to tell this story after this last segment that I was going to do, but so like me and my friends, teenagers, pimples, skinny, all the things that don't happen anymore. And we were like just hanging out in the lobby all day, hoping to meet someone. And you were the first one that came down, and you stood with us for like 15 minutes. You answered all of our dumb questions, and you've sat here tonight and answered all of my dumb questions.
they're not done, buddy.
But it really meant a lot to us at the time. And after that, it was like Doug Basham is our favorite wrestler. Doug Basham is the best guy. Every time Doug was on TV, that's our friend Doug. That's our friend Doug. So it really meant a lot to me that you stood with, 3-4 pimply faced teenagers and gave us the time of day.
It's stories like that, and like you said earlier in your emails to me, it's come full circle. It's come back around, and it's always one of the things that it makes me feel good inside and warms my heart, brings a smile to my face is when I can bring a smile to somebody's face also. And just actually just 2 weeks ago, and I could send this video to you if you want to see it. I got a buddy who in the medical field was talking to a lady in the hospitals, because in the medical field now over here, I can't get into hospitals. I can't get into doctors' offices. They just kind of shut everything down because of COVID. Probably same way over there, I'm sure, or down there,
Yep.
down under. So it's really tough. So a buddy of mine got me into see some of the people in the hospital, but how he did it was he said, yeah, I got a buddy. They were talking about wrestling, and that her son was a huge wrestling fan and all that. And then he said that, one of my buddies used to be a professional wrestler. I don't know, Doug Basham. She goes, and I was shocked when she said this. She said, well, my son knows the Basham. He loves the Basham brothers. Would he be able to get a picture or something like that? So Steve called me up and said, absolutely, man, I'll do. I'll tell you what I'll do. And let's get me into the hospital to see her. So I had ulterior motive there, right? To see her, I'll hand a picture and sign it. We'll take pictures and maybe try and send the video to her son. So I got in there, handed her picture. She was shocked. Oh my God. And she said she would video her giving her son the picture. And she sent me the video. And when he was sitting there playing, I think he was playing a wrestling video game. And they walked into her and her husband walked into his room and said, "Hey, Taylor, or Carter, see my memory. Carter, got something for you." And I had it in a like one of those envelopes like this here, you know, those manila envelopes.
Yeah.
Had it one of those, and she handed it to him, and he opened it, and when he opened it, it was still face down. And as he walked over, he had like a WWE, one of those plastic WWE belts on the floor. So his kid was a huge wrestling fan. And when he opened it up, he saw it was a picture of the Basham brothers and me and Danny. He goes, "No way, the Basham brothers. I love the Basham brothers. Oh man, thank you." He was like all happy and everything. And she sent that video. And not that I'm not a big softie or anything like that, but I'm man enough to say it actually brought a tear of joy to my eye when I saw that I could make that little guy that happy. So that was like, if I had a highlight in my career, that's one of my best highlights in my career right there, making that. And he's 9. He was 9 years old, and he knew who the Basham brothers were. He wasn't even thought about back when
Yeah.
So pretty awesome. So I can do something like that, man. Makes me feel good. Glad.
Absolutely. And I think I saw a tweet that Mark Murray put up the other day where he said, sometimes maybe only 5 minutes of your time can mean the world to somebody else. And
absolutely, man. Absolutely.
And those few minutes of your time that you gave us meant the world to us. And I also want to give a shout out to Johnny the Bull Stamboli, who also did the same thing and took some time with us. And we even made an FBI sign, and when he made his entrance, we were along the ramp, and he made sure to point at us and make us feel special. So that's a magical thing about all that, Like
it's the little things that matter the most.
Absolutely.
Whenever I was out there, I always tried to talk to fans and stuff like that. John Cena, and one of the reasons, I don't know if it's the reason, but one of the things he used to do, because we used to ride together, he would go out and sign autographs at the end of the show, and people would be lined up by the gate when all the wrestlers come out. He would go over and sign. I mean, I'd be like, God, I don't know if I want to ride with him anymore because, God, I want to leave. But I get it. Go get yourself over. He would sign every autograph, and there'd be hundreds of people out there, and he'd be an hour, and we'd just be sitting in the car waiting on him.
Yeah.
But,
I remember a story Kevin Nash told me, hanging out with Hulk Hogan. And, looking at Hulk Hogan, it's Hulk Hogan. You'd be like, God damn it, if that guy didn't sign every single person's for the signature, you'd be there for hours waiting for him to hurry up and be done so you can get on to the next thing.
Absolutely. Get on to the next town is what it is. But, that's what you got to do. I'm a redneck, so I like NASCAR, right? One of the things about me, my dad told me a story about the King, Richard Petty. I don't know if you guys follow NASCAR or anything.
I've heard of Richard Petty. Yeah.
Richard Petty, the King. My dad told me back when Richard Petty was young and winning all the races, he would stay after the races and he would sign every autograph of hundreds and hundreds of people. And I remembered that when I moved up, and I kind of implemented some of that. Whenever I would go out and see fans. Now I was a heel, so I had to, I didn't go out and do what John Cena did, but like with you guys there, stop, see some young guys and talk to you for a little bit and ask you to go on the show. Can't remember what we talked about. I could not even tell you.
I don't remember either.
I can't remember signing anything, but I always made a point to actually, be nice and be kind, because there may be one day when I turn babyface and I'm a singles guy, and you'll buy my merch.
Exactly.
or just remember me, man, and cheer for me. That was it.
Yeah, and I know why I know Richard Petty is because Kurt Hennig, the West Texas Rednecks, had the lyric, "I like NASCAR racing. Richard Petty is still the king."
That's it, man.
That's the only way I would know. NASCAR's not something that's very well known here in Australia, but
Probably not.
we got the V8 supercars over here, which I'm sure will be something that you would love to watch. Bathurst and all that stuff.
The drag racing there. I watched some of that on MAV TV. And don't you guys have what do they call it? Like desert racing over there, where the super trucks go through the desert and race?
I've never ever heard of that, but that sounds.
We've got V8 supercars like your Ford, your Holdens, and they don't look like Formula One type cars and like, you know, big fucking tanks of a car. But yeah, that's a big thing over here is these V8 supercars. I'm sure you'd love to see that stuff.
Drag racing. Drag
Drag racing's it's pretty big here. Yeah.
You know, I found out, right, 2 weeks ago, my dad, right, he's been fucking drag racing on his motorbikes for years.
What?
And I had no fucking idea, right? And he messaged me like 3 weeks ago on a Wednesday night being like, I'm going to Kwinana fucking Speedway up the backland. I'm like, what are you going there for? And he goes, drag racing. I'm like, what, are you racing? He goes, yeah. I'm like, since fucking when?
Why wouldn't he ever bring that up in conversation?
He never told me. But this makes all the sense in the world because he's got that Akubra. Wait, no, the Akubra's the hat. What's the fucking bike?
The Akubra's the hat, bro.
Fuck.
He didn't want you. He didn't want you.
The name of the bike's Buell.
Anyway, look, next time we're on the show, Jack, we'll figure out what the name of the car, the bike is.
No,
we'll name
the name of the bike is a Buell.
The Buell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Buell.
All right, Doug, look, we've taken up enough of your time. This is the final segment. It's called 5 Second Frenzy, and it's 10 quick fire questions. And essentially, it's just to get to know a little bit more about you and other things that you like.
NASCAR. Wait, sorry. Did we start already?
We're starting right now. Who was your favorite wrestler?
Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, and I was a super huge fan of Razor Ramon, Scott Hall.
Me too. He's actually, Razor is my favorite. When I did wrestling, my move set was essentially Razor Ramon's move set. Your favorite opponent over the years?
Probably Chris Benoit was my favorite opponent.
I'm going to watch that match after this. I didn't get to watch the whole match. I just got to watch the segment building up to it, but I'm definitely watching that.
There's a couple of them you can watch with Chris Benoit, actually.
Oh,
on
cool.
OVW and WWE.
Ah, excellent. So favorite match, would it be Benoit?
Favorite match? No. Favorite match was first time we won WWE titles.
Excellent.
Of all time. Because, check that box.
Hell yeah. Your favorite TV show?
America's Got Talent.
Oh,
Sick.
Doug, I'm very disappointed.
Oh, hang on. How about Got Talent? Because I watched Australia's Got Talent. I watched Britain's Got Talent.
Oh, really?
America's Got Talent. Asia's Got Talent. I love it, man. I love it that these people, I know it's rapid fire, but all these people have a dream and they're stepping up on a platform to try and get there, and they're letting it all hang out. So kudos. I like that, man. It's awesome.
No, that's cool, man. I just like, my favorite show is The Sopranos. So, your favorite film, Doug?
Film. Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls.
Oh, it's brilliant, man. I love that
The
movie.
second one.
Yeah, it's way better than the first. I love it.
Bumblebee Tuna.
Everybody loves the slinky. Your favorite food?
Pizza.
Man, you know what? We always get either steak or pizza from wrestlers. Jack, have you noticed that?
I noticed that. You said that earlier today to Crackerjack as well.
Yeah, because he said
steak
steak, and now Doug said pizza. I'm pretty sure Sin Bodhi said pizza. By the way, Doug, Sin Bodhi said to say that, say hello to that sexy motherfucker for me.
As a man, you know, Sin Bodhi's awesome, man. He was just in OVW last week. We hung out a little bit and hang out. He's a great guy, man. Great guy. I met him.
Never got his due, man. Never got his due. I hope he does get it someday.
I honestly,
that little itty bitty.
I thought Kazani
run.
was.
Yeah.
I thought Kazani was such an awesome character, and such a cool name too.
I just don't think they knew what to do with it. You know, they didn't know what they were doing.
I think it was over their head. It was over their head, I think, is what it was. They didn't know.
It's like Bray Wyatt. They can't write to the character because the character and the performer is better and more smart than them. So,
well, I met Sin Bodhi through Gail, obviously, when we were dating. So,
right.
He's Canadian.
Yeah. Okay. Back to 5 Second Frenzy. Your favorite place to eat on the road? It's okay.
My favorite place to eat on the road. It was anywhere you can get like steak or grilled chicken. I like mainly a chain. Anywhere you can get, obviously, a steak for protein. That was it.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I didn't have a favorite.
Your favorite alcoholic beverage?
Beer.
Yep.
Light beer.
The same.
Light beer.
Big beer man.
I'm big on beer too, but obviously tonight I'm on the red wine because it's a bit cold here. It's supposed to be summer. It's a bit cold, and the red wine warms me up.
It's summer
Just
down
like you've warmed me up, Doug.
here. It's you're welcome.
Your favorite female body part, and I know it can't be Stephanie McMahon's breasts because you never actually looked at them. So
No, the boutte.
yes, just like Bob Holly, bro. Bob Holly like the boutte.
The boutte, because you can buy these. And I'm like, now you can buy that, but if you got one of those, you're either gifted or you work squats.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's why I'm a big fan of Mandy Rose.
Oh, my girl, she's got a booty. I'm glad she does.
Your favorite curse word is the final one of tonight's 5-second frenzy, Doug. I know you haven't sworn tonight. You've bleeped yourself, but
probably the F word. It just feels good and makes you, when you say it, it's a nice, good stress release.
It's a popular one.
I don't say it all the time. Yeah, I don't say it all the time.
Popular one.
I got to be pretty mad. I try to keep a handle on my cursing.
Fair enough. Well, Doug, I just want to say thank you so much. And once we stop recording, I want to ask you just 2 more questions, but just I want to say thank you so much for doing the show, and big shout out to my boy, Mean Mike, for helping me out with this. He has now become a friend of mine. We talk every single day since the interview. So Mean Mike, thank you so much for getting me in touch with Doug Basham. As soon as he said that he could get me an interview with you, I was like, oh, Mike, you have no idea. I met him when I was a teenager and blah, 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 blah. So Doug, I hope you are incredibly proud of everything you accomplished in the business. Not many people can say that they did what you did. And you've made me and Jack very happy that you've spoke to us today. And again, I just hope you're very proud of everything you accomplished.
Thank you, guys. You guys are very kind. Appreciate the kind words. And it was my pleasure.
Excellent. And Jack, guess what? We ended up going 2.5 hours, bro. So
exactly like I said in my fucking message, right? I was
you were like,
just thinking
this
that.
better not go 2.5 hours, man, because I'm tired. Because we're hungover. We went to our friend's engagement party last night, and this is the second interview of the day. Oh my God.
I forget it. It's what is it, 1:30 at your all's house?
1:32 a.m.
1:30 in the morning now. So look, it may have gone 2.5 hours, and I may have said I didn't want to go 2.5 hours, but we had a great time.
It was so much fun. So again, Doug, thank you so much, my friend.
You guys are welcome, and I could have kept on going just so you know.
Well, we'll bring you back on, and we'll dive even deeper into your career.
That'll work. Anytime, man. Just let me know. I'll be more than glad to do it.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone, for watching the podcast here, 55 Live on the WZWA Network. I'm Karlifornia Inferior alongside Jack Wallace and our new best friend in the whole wide world, Doug Basham. And we will see you next time when we speak to none other than Joe E. Legend, a.k.a. Just Joe. Thank you very much and good night.
Whoa. You mean Just Joe? Like no one else?
Just Joe. Yeah, Just Joe.
Right. Roger that.
Not Joe, Just Joe.
Just Joe. All right.
We'll clear this up with him when we see him.
All right, sick. Cool.
He himself and him. I.
Good night, everyone.